success does not begin at the final stage. It begins much earlier, with the kind of foundation a student builds. The UPSC CSE 2025 result makes that visible again. 10 candidates in the top 100 prepared through the Vision IAS GS Foundation Classroom course, including AIR 5 in Shan Bhatnagar. That kind of result is not built on motivation alone. It is built on the right sequence, the right guidance, and the right correction. This is what the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course is designed for. Concept first classroom learning, so preparation is not scattered. Early answer writing and testing, so improvement starts on time. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs become usable in the exam. And mentorship that keeps preparation aligned, focused and accountable. Because in UPSC, hard work is common. Structured preparation is what creates separation. If you are targeting UPSC 2027, start by building your base the right way. Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course. Upcoming classroom batches at Karol Bagh, 24th March at 5 p.m., 30th March at 8 a.m. and 7th April at 11 a.m. At GTB Nagar, 17th March at 8 a.m. and 25th March at 6 p.m. Register at our website or call us on the given number.
यूपीएससी 2027 का लक्ष्य जितना बड़ा है उसे पाने की योजना भी उतनी ही स्पष्ट और संगठित होनी चाहिए। विजन आईएएस लेकर आया है क्लासरूम फाउंडेशन कोर्स 2027 के 12 से 14 महीनों का एक ऐसा सुव्यवस्थित कार्यक्रम है जहां आपकी तैयारी एक अनुशासित और वैज्ञानिक ढांचे में आगे बढ़ती है। यहाँ क्लासरूम लर्निंग के साथ साथ आपको मिलता है लाइव और रिकॉर्डेड सेशंस का विकल्प, जिसे आप अपने व्यक्तिगत ऑनलाइन पोर्टल के माध्यम से कभी भी और कहीं भी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। तैयारी के सफर को और भी प्रभावी बनाती है हमारी व्यक्तिगत क्लासरूम मेंटरिंग। हमारे एक्सपर्ट मेंटर्स नियमित मार्गदर्शन और स्मार्ट स्टडी मैनेजमेंट के जरिए आपकी तैयारी को एक सही दिशा और गति प्रदान करते हैं। शैक्षणिक दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो ये कोर्स मुख्य परीक्षा के सामान्य अध्ययन के चारों प्रश्न पत्रों, सीसेट और निबंध का व्यापक कवरेज सुनिश्चित करता है। विषयों की समसामयिक समझ विकसित करने के लिए मासिक करंट अफेयर्स मैगजीन और रिवीजन क्लासेस के साथ साथ PT 365 और मेंस 365 की विशेष कक्षाएं भी इस कार्यक्रम का अनिवार्य हिस्सा हैं, ताकि स्टैटिक और करंट अफेयर्स के बीच एक सटीक संतुलन बना रहे। तैयारी की गहराई मापने के लिए निरंतर अभ्यास अनिवार्य है, इसलिए डेली असाइनमेंट्स और साप्ताहिक मिनी टेस्ट के साथ साथ मासिक प्रीलिम्स और मेंस टेस्ट के माध्यम से आपकी प्रगति का निरंतर आकलन किया जाता है। इस कार्यक्रम की शक्ति है हमारी प्रतिष्ठित ऑल इंडिया टेस्ट सीरीज, जिसमें प्रीलिम्स के 35, मेंस के 30, सीसेट के 25 और निबंध के 5 टेस्ट का समावेश है। साथ ही संधान पोर्टल पर 25,000 से अधिक प्रश्नों का विशाल संग्रह आपके अभ्यास और विश्लेषण को और भी सुदृढ़ बनाता है। अब समय है अपनी मेहनत को एक मजबूत, संरचित और निरंतर प्रक्रिया में ढालने का। विजन आईएएस के साथ जुड़े और यूपीएससी 2027 की अपनी सफलता की राह को एक स्पष्ट दिशा दें।
UPSC Prelims is not the destination, it's the first crucial step, and clearing this step requires more than hard work. It demands the right strategy. Vision IAS All India GS Prelims Test Series 2027 with Sandhan is designed to give you that edge from the very beginning. With 35 structured tests, build your journey from fundamentals to full-length tests, ensuring clear, step-by-step progression. With Sandhan, personalized practice, you get more than 25,000 questions targeting your weak areas. Every test becomes a step toward measurable improvement. With smart analysis plus mentoring gain, get precise insights into your mistakes and refine your strategy with expert guidance. With quick revision material, QRM, focus on revising what truly matters exactly when you need it the most. Starting from 19th April, ensure you don't just attempt Prelims 2027, you prepare to clear it. To register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. All India GS Mains Test Series and Mentoring Program 2027, not just a test series, a system designed to improve how you write. For Mains 2027, what matters is not how much you know, but how effectively you present it on paper. And that's exactly what this program builds. Write regularly, get evaluated with precision, understand your mistakes, improve with clear mentorship. So with every test, your answers become more structured, more relevant, more impactful. This is where preparation turns into performance. Start early, improve consistently. Be ready for Mains 2027. To know more, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Are you ready to face Prelims head-on? Because Prelims is not just about knowledge, it's about performance under pressure. That's where Abhyas, the All India Prelims, GS plus CSAT mock test comes in. Designed as a true exam simulation, Abhyas recreates the real UPSC. Prelims experience the same pattern, the same time constraints, and the same intensity. It places you in a national arena, competing with aspirants across India, backed by an all-India ranking that reveals your true standing. Attempted by 1 in 3 top 50 rankers, Abhyas has become a trusted benchmark for serious aspirants. With detailed post-test analysis, live discussions, and complete syllabus coverage in both English and Hindi, it ensures your preparation is not just extensive but exam-ready. 3 full-length offline simulations will be conducted across 100+ cities on 5th April, 19th April and 10th May from 9:30 am to 11:30 am for General Studies, that is Paper 1, and 2:30 pm to 4:30 pm for CSAT, that's Paper 2. Challenge your preparation, test your performance. For more information or register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Every UPSC result proves one thing quietly: success does not begin at the final stage. It begins much earlier, with the kind of foundation a student builds. The UPSC CSE 2025 result makes that visible again. 10 candidates in the top 100 prepared through the Vision IAS GS Foundation Classroom course, including AIR 5 Nishan Bhatnagar. That kind of result is not built on motivation alone. It is built on the right sequence, the right guidance, and the right correction. This is what the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course is designed for. Concept first classroom learning, so preparation is not scattered. Early answer writing and testing, so improvement starts on time. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs become usable in the exam. And mentorship that keeps preparation aligned, focused and accountable. Because in UPSC, hard work is common. Structured preparation is what creates separation. If you are targeting UPSC 2027, start by building your base the right way. Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course. Upcoming classroom batches at Karol, Bagh, 24th March at 5 pm, 30th March at 8 am and 7th April at 11 am. At GTP Nagar, 17th March at 8 am and 25th March at 6 pm. Register at our website or call us on the given number.
यूपीएससी 2027 का लक्ष्य जितना बड़ा है उसे पाने की योजना भी उतनी ही स्पष्ट और संगठित होनी चाहिए। विजन आईएएस लेकर आया है क्लासरूम फाउंडेशन कोर्स 2027 के 12 से 14 महीनों का एक ऐसा सुव्यवस्थित कार्यक्रम है जहां आपकी तैयारी एक अनुशासित और वैज्ञानिक ढांचे में आगे बढ़ती है। यहाँ क्लासरूम लर्निंग के साथ साथ आपको मिलता है लाइव और रिकॉर्डेड सेशंस का विकल्प, जिसे आप अपने व्यक्तिगत ऑनलाइन पोर्टल के माध्यम से कभी भी और कहीं भी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। तैयारी के सफर को और भी प्रभावी बनाती है हमारी व्यक्तिगत क्लासरूम मेंटरिंग। हमारे एक्सपर्ट मेंटर्स नियमित मार्गदर्शन और स्मार्ट स्टडी मैनेजमेंट के जरिए आपकी तैयारी को एक सही दिशा और गति प्रदान करते हैं। शैक्षणिक दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो ये कोर्स मुख्य परीक्षा के सामान्य अध्ययन के चारों प्रश्न पत्रों, सीसेट और निबंध का व्यापक कवरेज सुनिश्चित करता है। विषयों की समसामयिक समझ विकसित करने के लिए मासिक करंट अफेयर्स मैगजीन और रिवीजन क्लासेस के साथ साथ पीटी 365 और मेंस 365 की विशेष कक्षाएं भी इस कार्यक्रम का अनिवार्य हिस्सा हैं, ताकि स्टैटिक और करंट अफेयर्स के बीच एक सटीक संतुलन बना रहे। तैयारी की गहराई मापने के लिए निरंतर अभ्यास अनिवार्य है, इसलिए डेली असाइनमेंट और साप्ताहिक मिनी टेस्ट के साथ साथ मासिक प्रीलिम्स और मेंस टेस्ट के माध्यम से आपकी प्रगति का निरंतर आकलन किया जाता है। इस कार्यक्रम की शक्ति है हमारी प्रतिष्ठित ऑल इंडिया टेस्ट सीरीज, जिसमें प्रीलिम्स के 35, मेंस के 30, सीसेट के 25 और निबंध के 5 टेस्ट का समावेश है। साथ ही संधान पोर्टल पर 25,000 से अधिक प्रश्नों का विशाल संग्रह आपके अभ्यास और विश्लेषण को और भी सुदृढ़ बनाता है। अब समय है अपनी मेहनत को एक मजबूत, संरचित और निरंतर प्रक्रिया में ढालने का। विजन आईएएस के साथ जुड़े और यूपीएससी 2027 की अपनी सफलता की राह को एक स्पष्ट दिशा दें।
UPSC Prelims is not the destination, it's the first crucial step, and clearing this step requires more than hard work. It demands the right strategy. Vision IAS All India GS Prelims Test Series 2027 with Sandhan is designed to give you that edge from the very beginning. With 35 structured tests, build your journey from fundamentals to full-length tests, ensuring clear, step-by-step progression. With Sandhan, personalized practice, you get more than 25,000 questions targeting your weak areas. Every test becomes a step toward measurable improvement. With smart analysis plus mentoring game, get precise insights into your mistakes and refine your strategy with expert guidance. With quick revision material, QRM, focus on revising what truly matters exactly when you need it the most. Starting from 19th April, ensure you don't just attempt Prelims 2027, you prepare to clear it. To register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. All India GS Mains Test Series and Mentoring Program 2027. Not just a test series, a system designed to improve how you write. For Mains 2027, what matters is not how much you know, but how effectively you present it on paper. And that's exactly what this program builds. Write regularly, get evaluated with precision, understand your mistakes, improve with clear mentorship. So with every test, your answers become more structured, more relevant, more impactful. This is where preparation turns into performance. Start early, improve consistently. Be ready for Mains 2027. To know more, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Are you ready to face prelims head-on? Because prelims is not just about knowledge, it's about performance under pressure. That's where Abhyas, the All India Prelims, GS plus CSAT mock test comes in. Designed as a true exam simulation, Abhyas recreates the real UPSC. Prelims experience the same pattern, the same time constraints, and the same intensity. It places you in a national arena, competing with aspirants across India, backed by an all-India ranking that reveals your true standing. Attempted by 1 in 3 top 50 rankers, Abhyas has become a trusted benchmark for serious aspirants. With detailed post-test analysis, live discussions, and complete syllabus coverage in both English and Hindi, it ensures your preparation is not just extensive but exam-ready. 3 full-length offline simulations will be conducted across 100+ cities on 5th April, 19th April, and 10th May. From 9:30 am to 11:30 am for General Studies, that is Paper 1, and 2:30 pm to 4:30 pm for CSAT, that's Paper 2. Challenge your preparation, test your performance. For more information or register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Every UPSC result proves one thing quietly. Success does not begin at the final stage. It begins much earlier, with the kind of foundation a student builds. The UPSC CSE 2025 result makes that visible again. 10 candidates in the top 100 prepared through the Vision IAS GS Foundation Classroom course, including AIR 5 Ishan Bhatnagar. That kind of result is not built on motivation alone. It is built on the right sequence, the right guidance, and the right correction. This is what the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course is designed for. Concept-first classroom learning, so preparation is not scattered. Early answer writing and testing, so improvement starts on time. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs become usable in the exam. And mentorship that keeps preparation aligned, focused, and accountable. Because in UPSC, hard work is common. Structured preparation is what creates separation. If you are targeting UPSC 2027, start by building your base the right way. Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course. Upcoming classroom batches at Karol Bagh, 24th March at 5 pm, 30th March at 8 am, and 7th April at 11 am. At GTB Nagar, 17th March at 8 am and 25th March at 6 pm. Register at our website or call us on the given number.
यूपीएससी 2027 का लक्ष्य जितना बड़ा है उसे पाने की योजना भी उतनी ही स्पष्ट और संगठित होनी चाहिए। विजन आईएएस लेकर आया है क्लासरूम फाउंडेशन कोर्स 2027 के 12 से 14 महीनों का एक ऐसा सुव्यवस्थित कार्यक्रम है जहां आपकी तैयारी एक अनुशासित और वैज्ञानिक ढांचे में आगे बढ़ती है। यहाँ क्लासरूम लर्निंग के साथ साथ आपको मिलता है लाइव और रिकॉर्डेड सेशंस का विकल्प, जिसे आप अपने व्यक्तिगत ऑनलाइन पोर्टल के माध्यम से कभी भी और कहीं भी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। तैयारी के सफर को और भी प्रभावी बनाती है हमारी व्यक्तिगत क्लासरूम मेंटरिंग। हमारे एक्सपर्ट मेंटर्स नियमित मार्गदर्शन और स्मार्ट स्टडी मैनेजमेंट के जरिए आपकी तैयारी को एक सही दिशा और गति प्रदान करते हैं। शैक्षणिक दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो ये कोर्स मुख्य परीक्षा के सामान्य अध्ययन के चारों प्रश्न पत्रों, सीसैट और निबंध का व्यापक कवरेज सुनिश्चित करता है। विषयों की समसामयिक समझ विकसित करने के लिए मासिक करंट अफेयर्स मैगजीन और रिवीजन क्लासेस के साथ साथ पीटी 365 और मेंस 365 की विशेष कक्षाएं भी इस कार्यक्रम का अनिवार्य हिस्सा हैं, ताकि स्टैटिक और करंट अफेयर्स के बीच एक सटीक संतुलन बना रहे। तैयारी की गहराई मापने के लिए निरंतर अभ्यास अनिवार्य है, इसलिए डेली असाइनमेंट्स और साप्ताहिक मिनी टेस्ट के साथ साथ मासिक प्रीलिम्स और मेंस टेस्ट के माध्यम से आपकी प्रगति का निरंतर आकलन किया जाता है। इस कार्यक्रम की शक्ति है हमारी प्रतिष्ठित ऑल इंडिया टेस्ट सीरीज, जिसमें प्रीलिम्स के 35, मेंस के 30, सीसैट के 25 और निबंध के 5 टेस्ट का समावेश है। साथ ही संधान पोर्टल पर 25,000 से अधिक प्रश्नों का विशाल संग्रह आपके अभ्यास और विश्लेषण को और भी सुदृढ़ बनाता है। अब समय है अपनी मेहनत को एक मजबूत, संरचित और निरंतर प्रक्रिया में ढालने का। विजन आईएएस के साथ जुड़े और यूपीएससी 2027 की अपनी सफलता की राह को एक स्पष्ट दिशा दें।
UPSC Prelims is not the destination, it's the first crucial step. and clearing this step requires more than hard work. It demands the right strategy. Vision IAS All India GS Prelims Test Series 2027 with Sandhan is designed to give you that edge from the very beginning. With 35 structured tests, build your journey from fundamentals to full-length tests, ensuring clear, step-by-step progression. With Sandhan, personalized practice, you get more than 25,000 questions targeting your weak areas. Every test becomes a step toward measurable improvement. With smart analysis plus mentoring gain, get precise insights into your mistakes and refine your strategy with expert guidance. With quick revision material, QRM, focus on revising what truly matters exactly when you need it the most. Starting from 19th April, ensure you don't just attempt Prelims 2027, you prepare to clear it. To register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. All India GS Mains Test Series and Mentoring Program 2027, not just a test series, a system designed to improve how you write. For Mains 2027, what matters is not how much you know, but how effectively you present it on paper. And that's exactly what this program builds. Write regularly, get evaluated with precision, understand your mistakes, improve with clear mentorship. So with every test, your answers become more structured, more relevant, more impactful. This is where preparation turns into performance. Start early, improve consistently. Be ready for Mains 2027. To know more, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Are you ready to face prelims head-on? Because prelims is not just about knowledge, it's about performance under pressure. That's where Abhyas, the All India Prelims, GS plus CSAT mock test comes in. Designed as a true exam simulation, Abhyas recreates the real UPSC. Prelims experience the same pattern, the same time constraints and the same intensity. It places you in a national arena, competing with aspirants across India, backed by an all-India ranking that reveals your true standing. Attempted by 1 in 3 top 50 rankers, Abhyas has become a trusted benchmark for serious aspirants. With detailed post-test analysis, live discussions and complete syllabus coverage in both English and Hindi, it ensures your preparation is not just extensive but exam-ready. 3 full-length offline simulations will be conducted across 100+ cities on 5th April, 19th April and 10th May. From 9:30 am to 11:30 am for General Studies, that is Paper 1, and 2:30 pm to 4:30 pm for CSAT, that's Paper 2. Challenge your preparation, test your performance. For more information or register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Every UPSC result proves one thing quietly: success does not begin at the final stage. It begins much earlier, with the kind of foundation a student builds. The UPSC CSE 2025 result makes that visible again. 10 candidates in the top 100 prepared through the Vision IAS GS Foundation Classroom course, including AIR 5 Ishan Bhatnagar. That kind of result is not built on motivation alone. It is built on the right sequence, the right guidance and the right correction. This is what the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course is designed for. Concept-first classroom learning, so preparation is not scattered. Early answer writing and testing, so improvement starts on time. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs become usable in the exam. And mentorship that keeps preparation aligned, focused and accountable. Because in UPSC, hard work is common. Structured preparation is what creates separation. If you are targeting UPSC 2027, start by building your base the right way. Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course. Upcoming classroom batches at Karol, Bagh, 24th March at 5 pm, 30th March at 8 am and 7th April at 11 am. At GTB Nagar, 17th March at 8 am and 25th March at 6 pm. Register at our website or call us on the given number.
यूपीएससी 2027 का लक्ष्य जितना बड़ा है उसे पाने की योजना भी उतनी ही स्पष्ट और संगठित होनी चाहिए। विजन आईएएस लेकर आया है क्लासरूम फाउंडेशन कोर्स 2027 के 12 से 14 महीनों का एक ऐसा सुव्यवस्थित कार्यक्रम है जहां आपकी तैयारी एक अनुशासित और वैज्ञानिक ढांचे में आगे बढ़ती है। यहाँ क्लासरूम लर्निंग के साथ साथ आपको मिलता है लाइव और रिकॉर्डेड सेशंस का विकल्प, जिसे आप अपने व्यक्तिगत ऑनलाइन पोर्टल के माध्यम से कभी भी और कहीं भी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। तैयारी के सफर को और भी प्रभावी बनाती है हमारी व्यक्तिगत क्लासरूम मेंटरिंग। हमारे एक्सपर्ट मेंटर्स नियमित मार्गदर्शन और स्मार्ट स्टडी मैनेजमेंट के जरिए आपकी तैयारी को एक सही दिशा और गति प्रदान करते हैं। शैक्षणिक दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो ये कोर्स मुख्य परीक्षा के सामान्य अध्ययन के चारों प्रश्न पत्रों, सीसैट और निबंध का व्यापक कवरेज सुनिश्चित करता है। विषयों की समसामयिक समझ विकसित करने के लिए मासिक करंट अफेयर्स मैगजीन और रिवीजन क्लासेस के साथ साथ पीटी 365 और मेंस 365 की विशेष कक्षाएं भी इस कार्यक्रम का अनिवार्य हिस्सा हैं, ताकि स्टैटिक और करंट अफेयर्स के बीच एक सटीक संतुलन बना रहे। तैयारी की गहराई मापने के लिए निरंतर अभ्यास अनिवार्य है, इसलिए डेली असाइनमेंट्स और साप्ताहिक मिनी टेस्ट के साथ साथ मासिक प्रीलिम्स और मेंस टेस्ट के माध्यम से आपकी प्रगति का निरंतर आकलन किया जाता है। इस कार्यक्रम की शक्ति है हमारी प्रतिष्ठित ऑल इंडिया टेस्ट सीरीज, जिसमें प्रीलिम्स के 35, मेंस के 30, सी सेट के 25 और निबंध के 5 टेस्ट का समावेश है। साथ ही संधान पोर्टल पर 25,000 से अधिक प्रश्नों का विशाल संग्रह आपके अभ्यास और विश्लेषण को और भी सुदृढ़ बनाता है। अब समय है अपनी मेहनत को एक मजबूत, संरचित और निरंतर प्रक्रिया में ढालने का। विजन आईएएस के साथ जुड़े और यूपीएससी 2027 की अपनी सफलता की राह को एक स्पष्ट दिशा दें।
UPSC Prelims is not the destination, it's the first crucial step, and clearing this step requires more than hard work. It demands the right strategy. Vision IAS All India GS Prelims Test Series 2027 with Sandhan is designed to give you that edge from the very beginning. With 35 structured tests, build your journey from fundamentals to full-length tests, ensuring clear, step-by-step progression. With Sandhan, personalized practice, you get more than 25,000 questions targeting your weak areas every time.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, a few things about environment as a topic and what we are trying to achieve in these 3 sessions. Let's talk about that first. So you'll have somewhere between 20 to 24 questions from environment. पिछले 3 साल का आप डेटा देखोगे, it will be some 22, 23, 24 क्वेश्चन. आप पिछले 15 साल का डेटा देखोगे तब भी 18 क्वेश्चन ऑन एन एवरेज आपको दिख जाएगा. So you'll always find that this is the most important topic, not one of the. This is the most important topic for prelims examination. And after combining forest services, this of course has become very important. And it has become very difficult. So this is the starting point. That environment section has become very difficult in last few years. Many questions have become very factual, so if you look at the questions asked in 2014-15, you'll find them that they are so simple. They're very straightforward. You'll not find the same thing. Out of this 20-24 questions, I would say that maybe about 40% of them will be easy questions. Like easy in the sense where most of you can attempt and most of you get it right also. Like if you have done your basic reading of environment, if you understand the topic well enough, you can get those 40% of the questions. There will be about 20-25% of the questions जो आपको हवा नहीं लगने वाला है कि क्या पूछा इन्होंने, कौन सा स्पीसीज कहाँ से आ गया है. यू हैव नो आइडिया, यू हैव नो क्लू. दैट डज नॉट मीन कि वो ऑटोमेटिकली अनअटेम्प्टेबल है, ये ज़रूरी नहीं है. इवन इन सच क्वेश्चंस यू कैन अप्लाई. आप बहुत बार देखोगे कि थोड़ा लॉजिक लग सकता है, यू कैन एलिमिनेट ऑप्शन, यू कैन गेट द राइट आंसर. बट देर विल बी फ्यू क्वेश्चंस इन द पेपर विच विल इन अ वे शॉक यू दैट यू आर लाइक कि इतना सारे इन्वायरमेंट पढ़ा है, ये कहाँ से आ गया. ये होगा. दिस इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू हैपन. Our goal in this session, in these 3 sessions, I think it will take 3 sessions. So I've given you paper, but not for a moment you should think that जैसे UPSC में पेपर सिंपलर होगा. जो मैंने अभी पेपर बनाया है, I have some 77 questions in the paper, and we will have few more. So I have not covered all of the themes right now in this paper. There are few more themes which still are to be covered. And almost every question is a difficult question. So let me start with that this paper which I have made is not at all, almost any question is not an easy question. In few questions I have given you some leeway where you can eliminate options and get the right answer. But even in only those few questions. So the first thing first, that even though I'm going to use mock papers to conduct this session, not for a moment you should think that this will be the level in actual examination. Actual examination will be simpler. It is difficult compared to 2014-15, but it will not be this level. You still will find 40-50% question which can be done from basic level of environment. Just in this mock paper, there are many factual questions. But none of those facts are random facts. All of those facts which I have given in the mock paper, they are important. But more importantly, the larger goal of these sessions is to talk about the theme of those questions. So every question has a specific theme. Let's talk about those themes in detail. And every theme which I have chosen is from last 2-year current affairs. So none of these themes are, even if there is a basic question of environment, it is because of it was in news due to some reason. You'll find that in the paper there are many basic questions of environment, right? When I took the similar session on science and tech, I first gave a lot of time and then I did all of that discussion together. I'm not going to do that because I felt that many students who are watching it live, they could not connect to this. They could not do this in live manner. So what we are going to do, we are going to change this pattern in this session. We will do 5 questions. I will give you 6 minutes. And every 5 questions, we will discuss those 5 themes. We'll discuss the answer, but more importantly, we'll discuss those 5 themes into more detail. ठीक है? अभी आप question distribute करवा सकते हैं. कहाँ गए? Just a second. अभी यहीं पे थे भैया. अभी क्वेश्चन डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करवा देना. So I repeat this. The purpose of this session is to revise current affairs. Not for a moment you should think कि ये सही नहीं हो रहा है आपका. फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. The goal here is to revise current affairs. Every question is a difficult question. At least I think almost every question I have made is a difficult question. UPSC में ऐसा नहीं होगा. UPSC में there will be 35-40% easy questions. And many of the questions are factual here. So I'm going to use a stopwatch. I will give you 6 minutes for every 5 questions. And after 6 minutes, we'll discuss those 5 questions. Those who are watching it live, let me show the question paper on the screen. Or you can also download it from the video description section. So you can download this question paper in the video description of this. So I'm going to do this discussion, but I'm also going to provide a solution to all of these questions. And this solution also will be available in the video description, but not immediately. It will become available maybe by tomorrow. Question paper should be available. In the first question, please make a small correction. I hope all of you have the question paper. Please make a small correction. Write down 47% here and write down 20-35 here. And similarly, जो 50 है आपके printed में, convert that to 60 and ये 20-35, convert that to 20-35. So that is a small correction which I'll have to make. Okay, your time starts now. You can also do question number 6 because that is related to loss and damage, so we'll discuss this together. Okay, enough time. Discuss. After every question, I have given overall the topic you should prepare from current affairs. Almost after every question, if not every question. We'll start with this question. This was in news just few weeks ago. ये मार्च का न्यूज़ है. This first one, that India has committed to achieve net zero emission by 2070. This is part of our what is called Panchamrit declaration. When did it happen? When did India do this declaration? COP 26, 2021, Glasgow, Scotland. ठीक है? ये UPSC ने मेंस में 2 बार पूछ लिया ये क्वेश्चन on COP26 Panchamrit declaration. It is not part of our NDC. So first statement is a trap. Even though this is an important commitment, it is not part of our nationally determined contribution. Some background first. I hope everybody remembers that Paris Agreement, even though it is a legally binding agreement, it did not start with a top-down approach. So technically, Paris Agreement is legally binding. If there is a statement, mark that correct. Paris Agreement is legally binding. I know that in a lot of places, you'll have found that it is not a legally binding agreement. That is wrong. If there is only one statement, it is a legally binding agreement, that is a correct statement. And how Paris Agreement was different from Kyoto Protocol in one way, of course it was different from Kyoto Protocol, that Kyoto Protocol was applicable only to developed nations. Paris Agreement became a universal agreement for both developed and developing nations. And in one more way how it was different, or how it is different, that it asked countries to first essentially mention their own targets. That you know your developmental requirements, your own capability, and based on that you decide the target. And that is called nationally determined contributions. So just in March 2026, India has submitted its revised NDC. And that second and third is correct. तो आपका जो print है उसमें please again make that correction. So emission intensity 47%, by 2035 from 2005 level, and 60% cumulative electric power installed capacity from non-fossil fuel based by 2035. These are the two important targets as part of recently submitted NDC. Another target is having 2.5 to 3 billion ton of carbon abatement by forest and tree cover. So ये एक important current affairs है जो आप याद रखोगे. आप मेंस के लिए भी याद रखोगे इसको. If there is a question about climate change initiatives, you are going to write these NDCs as exactly with the correct data in your answer. Okay. So here the answer will be, first is not correct, 2 and 3rd are correct, only 2. Okay. हाँ, it is 40. जो recent जो अभी जो मार्च का जो अभी है उसमें 47% इमिशन इंटेंसिटी है. हाउ डू आई डिफाइन दिस बाय द वे? हाउ डू आई डिफाइन इमिशन इंटेंसिटी? कितना CO2 बढ़ रहा है? हमारा GOT, मान लो हमारा GDP 10% से ग्रो कर गया. सो आवर CO2 emission is not growing in the same proportion. So right now, for example, let's say that we have in 2026 our GDP is 100 rupees. And by 10 years down the line, by 2036, our GDP becomes 150 rupees. Let's say, right now, in 2026, for 100 rupees of GDP, let's say we produced 100 kg of CO2. So our emission intensity will be 100 kg CO2 divided by 100 rupees. So we are producing 1 kg CO2 for 1 rupee of GDP. But 10 years down the line, our GDP became 150, but our CO2 emission became 125. So now we are producing 125 by 150, this much kg of CO2 per rupee of GDP. And that will be reduction in intensity. So this is called emission intensity. So even though our total emission will increase, our intensity of emission is going to decrease. Okay. So answer here is only 2. This is completely factual. ये अभी जो COP just conclude हुआ है last year, उस पे question है. Belém is located in Amazon rainforest, making COP 30 first UNFCCC conference to be hosted inside the Amazon biome. This is correct. That was the symbolic gesture associated with COP 30, that we talk about Amazon rainforest and its protection. So for the first time, this COP occurred at Belém. So this is correct. What about second? Wrong. Loss and damage fund. So hence let's discuss that question number 6 also. We talk about loss and damage, but we should always read this along with mitigation and adaptation. That when we talk about our fight against climate change, we first talk about mitigation. That how can we mitigate? For example, mitigation will be reducing our greenhouse gas emission. That will be mitigation. Investing into renewable energy. That will be mitigation. Adaptation will be where you now know that climate change is impacting our day-to-day life. Climate change is impacting our health, our economy. It is causing disaster. And you become better prepared for it. So for example, you invest into climate resilient agriculture. You invest into early warning system. Those things will be part of adaptation. And all of that will require money. Mitigation will require money. Adaptation will require money. And we always have to ask this question, that where will that money come from? And the demand will be that developed nations have to support developing nations in this endeavor. But the third component now is loss and damage. Loss and damage is what already the losses which have occurred and the damage which is happening right now due to climate change. Who is going to compensate for it? So think of some of the most vulnerable nations, let's say some of the poorest nations in Africa, or many island countries which are vulnerable to sea level rise. So loss and damage का यहाँ पे concept ये है that this country should be compensated for the loss and damage which has occurred because of climate change. So we need a third financing mechanism apart from mitigation and adaptation, which is called loss and damage. So for the first time, this concept was introduced in 2013 in a COP which occurred at Warsaw. So this is called Warsaw International Mechanism. So ये history इसका 2013 में है. Then again it was talked in 2015 in Paris. The fund became operational at COP27, Sharm el-Sheikh, and the final formality that World Bank is going to become the interim host of the fund and all of that. That happened at Dubai, COP28, Dubai. So उस statement का जो second है बिल्कुल भी correct नहीं है. यहाँ पे let's look at this question. The fund was established to address losses and damage associated with adverse effects of climate change. Yes. World Bank has been designated as interim host. This is also correct. And yeah, Santiago network is closely associated with loss and damage mechanism. So this conversation was going on for many years, and to build some consensus, before we can have consensus, this network, many countries, many organizations was established, which is called Santiago network. So answer here is 1, 2 and 3. D is the correct answer. And in the previous question which I was mentioning, that second statement is not correct. That loss and damage fund became fully operational at COP30 with its first disbursement announced. This has not even happened. The first disbursement announcement, it has become operational, but first disbursement announced, this has not even happened. So answer here is 1 only. So while UNFCCC का जो COP है, that happens every year. जो UNCBD का COP है, that happens every 2 years. Generally it happens every 2 years. So the last COP that happened in Colombia in 2024, again this is also a factual question. A dedicated subsidiary body for indigenous people and local community was established. This is correct. This is one of the main outcomes of this last COP. A new process was established to identify ecologically or biologically significant marine areas. This is wrong. This is very old. This happened much, much ago in 2008 or 2009. COP9 of, no need to remember that, no need to memorize that. But this is a trap here. This is not a new process. This was done many, many years ago. This is true. For the first time, तो आपको याद हो UNCBD में हमारे 2 further protocols हैं. There is a Nagoya Protocol and Cartagena Protocol. So Nagoya Protocol is about benefit sharing mechanism with respect to genetic resources, and Cartagena Protocol is with respect to biosafety issues from living modified organisms. So in that benefit sharing, if you are using digital sequence information from genetic resources found in developing nations, then the benefit sharing mechanism is going to work even for that. So this is true. Third is true. Answer here is 1 and 3 only. C is the correct answer. Okay, this is last COP, COP29, which occurred at Baku, Azerbaijan. So last is wrong. New collective quantified goals were announced and finalized at COP26, Glasgow, Scotland. No, this happened at COP29. First is correct. एक ही statement 4 में एक ही correct है. NCQG replaces earlier 100 billion per year goal that developed countries had committed to mobilize for developing countries. But second statement, that all developed countries agreed to mobilize at least this $1 trillion as a legally binding obligation. That par ke hi lag raha hai ki ye to garbar hai. This is not going to happen. And India agreed to everything. India is often considered as the bottleneck in climate negotiations. You should know this, that whenever climate negotiations happen, India will be often criticized that India is blocking so many things and all of that. So anyways, C is not correct, D is not correct, A is correct answer here. So this is one of the main outcomes of the COP29, which occurred last to last year. देखो इस पे UPSC क्वेश्चन पूछेगी ही कभी ना कभी, वो जब भी आए. Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So the previous COP, when it was supposed to happen in 2020, it was supposed to happen in Kunming, China. Did not happen because of COVID. So a part happened in Kunming, another part happened at Montreal. And जो Convention on Biological Diversity है, it does have some legally binding arrangements like Nagoya Protocol or Cartagena Protocol, but it also has many non-legally binding mechanisms where there is an expectation that countries will fulfill certain targets. First such type of targets were announced in 2011, that was called Aichi targets. Those targets ended in 2020. And now we have new set of targets, which is Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So first statement, इसका एक जो सबसे important part ये है, वो है 30/30 target. This commits countries to ensure that at least 30% of the world's terrestrial, inland water, coastal, marine areas conserved by 2030. This is true. And under the target, conservation is achieved exclusively through legally designated national park sanctuaries. Not at all. There are many areas which are neither park nor sanctuaries or anything else, but government is taking some initiative to protect them. So that second statement is not correct. Answer here is 1 only. Okay, next set of questions. Again, I will give you 6 minutes. Okay, we have enough time. Some really important topics in this discussion. This in itself is an important topic. Global stocktake. So when Paris Agreement was announced, one of the important part of the agreement was that from time to time, we will do a review work. आप ऐसे समझ लो, stocktake is like a review of everything which was announced by countries and how much of that was achieved. So conducted every 5 years to assess collective progress towards achieving the long-term goals of Paris Agreement. This is the purpose of stocktake. The first stocktake was concluded at COP28 Dubai. This is also correct. Why is it is important? Because the next stocktake is going to happen at COP33. And this is where India had first bid that we want to host it, but now we are not going to host it. So maybe that was, India has not actually announced the official reason that why India withdrew itself from hosting COP33. But अगर नहीं हुआ होता तो हो सकता है कि इंडिया में होता. Anyways, that will be second stocktake at COP33. After the first GST, it was decided to have legally binding commitment. No, it is not, nothing. GST, globally stocktake, that does not lead to legally binding commitments. As per first GST, world is currently not on track to meet 1.5 degree Celsius temperature goal. अगर ये 2 होता तब भी ठीक रहता. So ये 1.5 और 2 degree Celsius है तब भी statement सही रहता. So first is true, second is true, fourth is true, third is not true. Answer here is only 3. Okay, let's discuss question 8 and question 9 together. Question 8 में जो third statement है completely fabricated statement है. This is a completely fabricated statement that a climate tipping point refers to a temperature threshold set by IPCC beyond which countries must begin solar geoengineering and carbon geoengineering. Nothing like that. That is not the definition of climate tipping point. So second question is about that. ये अभी तक UPSC ने पूछा नहीं है. The concept of climate tipping point has not been asked either in prelims or mains. So this is an important theme to be prepared. Okay, but let's look at this. The report concluded that human-induced global warming, yeah, this is true. This is correct data, 1.1 degree Celsius since industrial level. This was the main finding of IPCC 6th assessment report. To limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius with no or limited overshoot, global greenhouse gas emission must be, this is also true. Peak का मतलब ये है that maximum emission, after that gradually it should decrease. Again, we have not achieved this peak emission. CO2 emission still is peaking. अभी जो इस तरीके से चल रहा है, maybe that peak will happen somewhere in 2030s, right? So first and second are true. Third is not correct. Answer here is C, 1 and 2 only. This topic of climate tipping point is important. What is tipping point? आप टिपिंग पॉइंट को आप सिंपली ऐसे समझ लो कि लिटरली टिपिंग पॉइंट का क्या मतलब होता है. जैसे मैं इस पेन को यहाँ पे बैलेंस कर लूंगा मैं, बट इफ आई कीप पुशिंग इट देयर विल बी अ पॉइंट वेयर इट विल फॉल डाउन. सो क्लाइमेट टिपिंग पॉइंट का मीनिंग ये है that the way climate change is happening, climate has lot of feedback mechanisms where it will try to restore to the equilibrium, but only up to a point. After a point of time, that equilibrium cannot be restored. So there are certain thresholds in our climate system that if you go beyond those thresholds, then we will not return back to, we will not be able to return back to what was the original equilibrium. This is called climate tipping point. And many studies have pointed out that there are many climate tipping points which exist right now in Earth's climate system. I have a separate question on AMOC. We will have a separate question, so I will discuss this. This is yes. No, this is not part of climate tipping point. Dieback of Amazon rainforest, yes. Melting of Greenland, West Antarctic ice sheet, 2 separate tipping points, and yes, and yes. Thawing of permafrost, yes. Coral reef collapse, yes. Microplastic, no. Even though this is a problem, microplastic pollution in itself is a problem. Coral bleaching is happening to such high rate. I have so many questions on coral bleaching in this paper. It is happening at such high rate that it is one of the climate tipping points. So answer here is 1, 3, कौन सा आंसर है यहाँ पे? C. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 and 7 are not correct. 1, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That is the correct answer. But please prepare this in more detail. That the concept of climate tipping points. Let me show you the map of tipping points. These are considered the main tipping points right now. The ice sheet disintegration of Greenland, the melting of Arctic sea ice, the thawing of permafrost in Siberian region, the slowing down of AMOC, the Atlantic Meridional overturning circulation, boreal forest, जो पूरा हमारा coniferous forest है, that one taiga biome, that continuous biome in northern hemisphere, that dying of boreal forest, that is a problem. Similarly, Amazon rainforest, its degradation, fire, all of that is a problem. Coral reef, coral bleaching is one of the climate tipping points, and disintegration of ice sheet found in West Antarctica is another tipping point. One more I can add here is Indian monsoon, how it is getting affected. So that is also a tipping point. So all of these are climate tipping points. Ozone depletion is not part of this definition, and plastic pollution is also not part of this definition. Montreal Protocol, Kigali Amendment. The Montreal Protocol was originally designed to protect ozone layer by phasing out CFC, HCFC, not to address climate change. This is true. That was the purpose of Montreal Protocol. Why this statement is there? Because second statement, Kigali Amendment added hydrofluorocarbon to the list of substances under the protocol, even though they do not deplete ozone layer. This is also true. Hydrofluorocarbons are not ozone depleting, but they are covered under this Kigali Amendment to Montreal Protocol. उसका कारण ये है that Montreal Protocol was actually successful. Kyoto did not become successful. So that is why it was thought that it should be part of Kigali Amendment to Montreal Protocol. So first and second are true. This is not true at all. That India, being a developing country, is required to phase out HFC consumption by 2030. India will start phasing out in 2032. Right? It will start into 5 stages. But by 47, like 2047 आने वाले 20-25 साल में जाके हमारा 80% हमारा reduction होगा. तो ये जो third statement है, that is absolutely not true. And even though it is a factual statement, this was such out of the line fact that you should get this correct. So answer here is only 2. First statement is true. Second statement is true. And one more question we can discuss. What is first true? As of now, there are 9. That is what I wanted to talk about. That as of now, there are 9 national missions. So yeah, currently it consists of 9 national missions. There is a mission on, I'm forgetting which mission was added, I will tell you. So there are 9 missions as of now. Panchamrit commitments announced by India at COP26 include achieving net zero emission. Yeah, that is true. I already talked about that. This is true. India is investing heavily in solar and wind power, aiming to achieve 500 gigawatt of non. This is also true. Answer is all 3. Your answer will be C. Next question. Question number 12 to 16. I will give you 6 minutes. The 9th mission, by the way, just a second, the 9th mission is on climate change and health. National Mission on Climate Change. This was very recently added. When it was launched with 8 missions. The 9th mission is on climate change and health. So anyways, go back to the question. Okay. I gave, I think, more time. Bonn Convention, its COP was recently concluded in Brazil. The third statement is not correct. India did host COP, but in 2020. So ये जो है 2026 जो है गलत है. Gandhinagar in 2026, this is wrong. This happened in 2020. The recent COP was concluded, just concluded in March, and that was in Brazil. So third statement is not correct, and immediately you get the answer, which is one only. First statement, it is a treaty operating under UNEP, that is true. Second statement does not have any binding agreements and only operates on non-binding, that is not true. It has both binding and non-binding arrangement. How this works? It maintains two appendices, list of species into two different appendix. In appendix 1, species which are threatened with extinction, and there is a legally binding mechanism on all the countries. In appendix 2, it is expected that countries will collaborate together on those species which will be preserved if countries collaborate together. And apart from that, it also does have a lot of MOUs which it can have with individual nations. So India is a signatory of this convention, and India did host this convention in 2020. So first is true, answer here is one only. ये अभी recently news में था, March में, and that is why this question is there. Kyoto Protocol, emission reduction targets were legally binding only on developed nations, which became Annex 1 countries. This is true. The Paris Agreement follows a bottom-up approach where each country determines its own climate targets. That is also true. I just mentioned that. Article 6 of Paris Agreement operationalized at COP28 permits international carbon trading. This part is true, but this is not true. It did not become operational at COP28. It became operational. If it is about operational, it became operational at 26 in Scotland, and the final rules were finalized at 29 in Baku. So this statement is not correct. Answer here is only first is true, second is true, answer is only 2 here. Okay. COP26, like Paris Agreement COP21 hai, but the question is saying that jo rules hai, operationalization of rule, that happened at COP26 in Scotland, and the finalization that happened just 2 years ago at COP29, Baku, Azerbaijan. Yeah, yeah. Developed countries का मतलब है, so okay, we go into some little bit of technicality. The Kyoto Protocol was binding on all Annex 1 countries. Annex 2 countries had one extra obligation, that they also had to support developing nations. So within Annex 1 included two types of countries. Developed countries of Western Europe and America and Japan, and then economies in transition, which were essentially mostly Eastern European countries and disintegration of USSR and some of the countries like Ukraine and Belarus and all of those nations. So they did not have that extra obligation that they have to support developing nations. But the commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emission, that was applicable to both developed and economies in transition, not on developing nation. So that is why first statement is correct, second statement is also correct, answer here is only 2. Okay? This question I have only and only mentioned because of the recent refusal of India. Like India has said that we are not going to host it. So India has hosted UNFCCC COP once, and that happened in 2002. So this is true. The COP8 in New Delhi, which led to this New Delhi Declaration, Delhi Ministerial Declaration on Climate Change and Sustainable Development, this is true. So the only reason I have, again I repeat this, I ideally would not have remembered this. But abhi recently a news mein tha that India has said that we are not going to host COP33. What about first? Berlin. First happened at Berlin. In any case, आप ऐसे भी देख सकते हो that Kyoto Protocol happened at COP3 in 1997, right? So 1994 UNFCCC entered into force. 1995, first COP happened at Berlin. Then COP2 and then COP3. So Kyoto Protocol happened at COP3. UNFCCC happens every year. Kyoto Protocol, even though it entered into force in 2005, but it goes back to 1997. So first statement is not correct. That COP1 at Kyoto. This is true. Kyoto Protocol, again, that did not happen at COP1, but Kyoto Protocol did lead to legally binding greenhouse gas emission for industrialized nation. Second is true. Third is also true. A legally binding international treaty on climate change by both developed and developing nations. Answer here is 2 and 3. B is the correct answer. यहाँ पे देख के भी लग रहा है कि एक तो कम से कम गलत है ही. That one statement is at least wrong and one statement is at least right. देखो अभी ये जो हाउ मेनी ऑफ वाले में तो आप नहीं कर सकते ये सब काम, बट इसमें तो कर सकते हो ना. इसमें वी कैन डू दैट. लाइक वी कैन लुक एट द ऑप्शन एंड वी कैन डिसाइड that at least one is correct or at least two is correct, things like that. And that helps a lot, by the way. You'll be surprised to see that how much this helps in actual examination. Not necessarily. Ramsar Convention is not legally binding anywhere. So it's not necessary. Ramsar Convention, there are conventions which are not legally binding. No. The opposite will be true. Maximum number of conventions are legally binding. There is some legally binding mechanism. In most, at least in environmental convention, this is true. In most of the environmental conventions, if it is a convention, if it is some MOU, some declaration, those things are not legally binding. But if you do have convention, then most of the environmental conventions at least, they are legally binding. I repeat, Ramsar Convention is not legally binding. Okay? Yeah, almost all protocols are legally binding because protocols often will be result of amendment to the convention. So if convention is generally legally binding, the protocols also will be legally binding. Oceans have absorbed more than 90% of excess heat generated by anthropogenic greenhouse gas emission. Why this fact is important? This is, by the way, true. That even today, oceans जो हैं, they act as a heat reservoir. And even if, let's say, we become net zero emission today, even then global warming still will continue because oceans still will gradually release that heat energy. So oceans play a very important role that they do not allow immediate heating. They trap a lot of greenhouse gases as well as that heat energy. So first is true. Oceans have absorbed approximately 25% of human caused carbon dioxide over the same period. This is also true. And third, both these absorptions buffer the atmosphere from much faster warming but lead to ocean warming, acidification and deoxygenation. All three are correct. Answer here is 1, 2 and 3. C is the correct answer. Okay? Not been asked by UPSC. क्या होगा आंसर इसका? 1, 2 and 3. Stratification. Stratification का सिंपल सा मतलब है लेयरिंग. वाटर में लेयरिंग क्यों होगा? डेंसिटी. पहले लेट्स स्टार्ट विद बेसिक्स. वाटर में लेयरिंग होगा डेंसिटी के कारण. देन वी आस्क कि डेंसिटी क्यों चेंज होगा? Density will change because of temperature and salinity. Okay. So first statement, it refers to layering of ocean water with different physical properties such as temperature and salinity. ठीक है, this is true. अब देखो ग्लोबल वार्मिंग का एक जो साइड इफेक्ट है, that ocean layers are stratified. We do know, आपने ज्योग्राफी में पढ़ा होगा, that how salinity, how temperature changes and as a result how density changes. But despite that layering, you always find that there are transition zones where that cold water is mixing with that warm water. And that mixing is important because of so many reasons. Cold water is very rich in nutrients. And as those nutrients come on the surface, but on the surface I have sunlight. Cold water is rich in nutrient, but sunlight does not reach there. Surface water, not rich in nutrient, but sunlight reaches here. So that intermixing is very important for biodiversity, first. Second, cold water can store more amount of CO2. So when oceans absorb CO2, that CO2 can remain trapped in the ocean because as that warm water mixes with cold water has higher saturation. It can absorb more amount of CO2. If you pour more fresh water into ocean, then you are reducing the density of that top layer further. and bottom layer has more density. So ocean layer which already is stratified, that gets more stratified, and more stratification means less mixing among layers, and less mixing means less nutrient mixing, less CO2 absorption. So ये जो statement है, that increased melting of glacial ice, warming of the surface contribute to stronger stratification. This is true. Stronger stratification reduces the mixing of nutrients from the deep ocean to the surface, adversely affecting marine productivity. This is also true. Stratification accelerates the absorption of atmospheric CO2 by ocean water. It decelerates. It reduces that. Answer here is 1, 2 and 3 only. Okay? So the entire discussion was about that. I have ocean water which is stratified. That stratification is because of change in density. Despite that stratification, we do find that there is intermixing of water. That cold water goes on the surface, warm water comes below. This intermixing is very important for so many things. For example, as I said in the starting of the itself, that cold water is rich in nutrients. उसका कारण बहुत simple है. Oceans are so old, lot of species who have died, they accumulate at the bottom, lot of carbonate ions, nitrogen, phosphorus, all of that is found here. Surface, जहाँ पे ocean जो sunlight है, that reaches up till few depth. तो आप जैसे आप ocean diversity जब आप देखते हो, तो you look at two things. सबसे पहले तो आप ये देखते हो कि ओशन डाइवर्सिटी मैक्सिमम कहाँ पे है, कोस्टल एरिया में है. मोस्ट ऑफ द ओशियानिक स्पीसीज आर फाउंड इन कोस्टल एरियाज. उसका कारण बहुत सिंपल है. दिस इज द प्लेस वेयर यू हैव लॉट ऑफ न्यूट्रिएंट्स एंड दिस इज द प्लेस वेयर सनलाइट कैन पेनिट्रेट. Oceans are called blue deserts. Why? Because in about 80% of the ocean, the actual diversity is very less. Oceans have very high diversity, but most of that diversity exists in the shallow ocean. It does not exist in the deep ocean. And you ask a question, why is that the case? Because water hai, I need life, water for life. Sunlight hai, I have that also. फिर भी diversity नहीं है. जैसे desert में समझ में आता है. I go to Sahara, I go to Thar. That is less diversity. Makes sense. पानी नहीं है. Sunlight है, पानी नहीं है. यहाँ पे sunlight भी है, पानी भी है. फिर भी diversity कम है. You ask a question, why? So this is where we answer that it is because of lack of other nutrients. I need phosphorus also. Remember हमारा DNA जो है उसमें phosphorus चाहिए. I need nitrogen also. जितने भी proteins हैं जो DNA है वहाँ पे हमको nitrogen चाहिए. I need sulfur for so many other type of biological molecule. So there are many other crucial minerals which surface water, ocean water lacks. And this is where cold ocean water plays a very important role. So that is why mixing, despite that layering, that mixing of warm and cold water, that allows nutrients to come on the surface and that increases marine productivity. आप इसको आप ऐसे भी समझ सकते हो. आपने पढ़ा होगा ना कि जहाँ जहाँ पे अपवेलिंग होता है वहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा फिशिंग होता है. तो आप इजीली इसको अप्रिशिएट कर सकते हैं. Wherever you have upwelling zones, wherever you have cold and warm ocean currents converging, you find that you have very like amazing fishing zones there. So the first thing, it is not the fish which starts, that fish directly reaches there. Availability of water, sunlight and now nutrients, that allows lot of marine producers, plankton species to grow, and that will allow a proper food chain. I always need first producer and then consumers will occur. So proper food chain is going to occur because of that. So stronger stratification means that these layers are more stratified, and more stratification means less mixing, and less mixing means that it adversely affects marine productivity. Okay? Deoxygenation. This is another problem associated with ocean. Water has very less oxygen. Okay, I'm talking about oxygen gas. I'm not talking about that oxygen atom of water, H2O. I'm talking about O2 gas which is dissolved into water. So for example, we cannot breathe, but yeah, fish can breathe. A lot of marine organisms, they can breathe. We cannot breathe in ocean water. So ocean already has very less oxygen. Deoxygenation means that this dissolved oxygen further declines. So this is the correct definition. It is decline in dissolved oxygen content in the world's ocean. Warmer water holds more dissolved oxygen. Not at all true. And इसको समझना बहुत आसान है. Warmer water means water has more kinetic energy. Gases will gain that kinetic energy. They will escape to the atmosphere. So second statement is not at all true. Not at all true. Coastal eutrophication caused by agricultural runoff worsens oxygen depletion in the ocean. Why this is true? This is true, by the way. Why this is true? What happens? How this causes depletion of oxygen? Sorry? Okay, now we are on to something. Cyanobacteria तो खुद से photosynthesis करेगा. Remember, जहाँ पे भी अचानक से अगर कहीं पे भी बहुत सारा न्यूट्रिएंट आ जाए, हर चीज मॉडरेशन में ठीक है. A sudden availability of nutrients, that means a sudden growth of algae. And that sudden growth of algae have a very short span, short lifespan. They die. And when anything dies, it gets decomposed. And decomposed with help of what? With help of bacteria and fungi. And most of the bacteria and fungi, they decompose in the presence of oxygen. So in the decomposition process, this bacteria and fungi will consume lot of oxygen. Oxygen, which already is less in the ocean water, becomes further less because of that high decomposition of organic waste. So we call such type of bloom harmful algal bloom, which is a result of eutrophication, and that happens mostly due to excessive use of fertilizer in agriculture. It can cause oxygen minimum zones in the world's ocean, reducing habitable space for marine. ये तो बहुत obvious है that if oxygen is depleting, there are places in ocean which are called oxygen minimum zones, and oxygen minimum zones gradually become dead zones. If you do not have oxygen, you do not have respiration, you do not have life. So first is true, second is not true, third is true, fourth is true. Answer is only 3. Okay, yeah, that also happens. Yeah, that is the first problem which happens. So when algal bloom, harmful algal bloom impacts biodiversity in many ways. The first thing which happens that when algae are blooming, remember up to what depth sunlight can penetrate into water. But on the surface now have algae. So that penetration of sunlight further decreases. And other producers get affected because of that. So yeah, that's true. But the more danger happens when these algae start dying, because when they start dying, now they get decomposed by bacteria, and that decomposition further reduces the availability of oxygen in the ocean water, and that is called harmful eutrophication. Okay. हाँ, तो हाई BOD जो हम बोलते हैं, बायोलॉजिकल ऑक्सीजन डिमांड, वो इसी चीज का कैलकुलेशन है कि बैक्टीरियाज को कितना ऑक्सीजन चाहिए टू डिकम्पोज. तो जितना ज्यादा वेस्ट होगा उतना ज्यादा ऑक्सीजन चाहिए. तो हाई BOD का मतलब ही यही है कि मेरा पानी जो है पॉल्यूटेड है, उसमें ऑर्गेनिक पॉल्यूटेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा हैं. ठीक है. लेट नेक्स्ट फ्यू क्वेश्चंस आई विल गिव यू. क्वेश्चन नंबर 18 to 25 कर सकते हो साथ में आप. Do question number from question number 18 to question number 25. क्वेश्चन नंबर 24 तक करेंगे हम सर, क्वेश्चन नंबर 24 तक. Okay. Let's discuss these questions. This is easy. Thawing का मतलब slow melting है. How do we define permafrost? What is the correct definition of permafrost? 2 years. Soil which is frozen for more than 2 years, that is the correct definition of permafrost. When you go to Siberian region, North Pole, even in, for example, you go to even on the top, not exactly at the top, but in Himalayas, in many of the great mountains of the world, or in Siberian region near North Pole, or even near South Pole, you find that if you go below, if you do some digging, you'll start finding that you have lot of plant biomass which has not decayed completely because of very low temperature. So this is diversity, lot of plant species of the past, which in the course of time, because of that icy condition, they have been submerged deep inside that ice. So if you go to Siberian tundra, you will find that it is not very rich in diversity. And you might think that maybe it's not a good carbon sink, but it is a fantastic carbon sink because it has been storing carbon for thousands and lakhs of years. And all of that carbon is stored into those layers of soil. And those layers of soil are held together. You have a lot of things and they are held together by permafrost. So what permafrost may look like, let me show that. Something like this, where below that layer of soil, you find this thick ice. And that ice is holding things together. And inside that ice, you have lot of plant biomass, animal biomass of the past. But because of global warming, that very gradual melting of permafrost, which is called thawing, that essentially has the potential to release CO2 and methane in the atmosphere. there is a fear that a lot of bacteria and viruses which have been dormant here in permafrost for thousands of years, they will be also released. And we have not been exposed to them, and that can cause perhaps some future epidemic as a result of that. And first is also true that it stores twice as much carbon as is currently present in the atmosphere. So this will be a very good example of positive feedback mechanism where global warming is causing thawing of permafrost that produces, that emits more amount of CO2 CH4, and that further contributes to global warming. Such type of phenomena is called positive feedback mechanism. So answer here is 1, 2 and 3. Arctic amplification. आप पूरे ग्लोबल वार्मिंग का अगर आप मैप देखोगे तो आपको दिखेगा कि एवरेज जो राइज है अभी वो 1.2 डिग्री सेल्सियस है. बट अगर आप आर्कटिक का देखोगे तो आर्कटिक में जो एवरेज इंक्रीज इन टेम्परेचर है वो 6-7 डिग्री सेल्सियस है. एंड यू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन दैट व्हाई इज दैट हैपनिंग. So by the way, this phenomena is called Arctic amplification. So this is true. The Arctic is warming approximately 3 to 4 times faster than global average. Why this is true is because of this. The albedo feedback caused by retreating sea ice exposing darker ocean water is a major contributor to Arctic amplification. Ice has very high albedo. So all the sunlight which is falling on the ice, it gets reflected. Now remember, reflection does not change frequency. So whatever frequency was incident, that same frequency is getting reflected. So if your atmosphere, if our atmosphere is transparent to that incoming sunlight, it is also transparent to that reflected sunlight, because reflection does not increase or decrease frequency. But when that ice melts due to global warming, and now you have water, and water has very less albedo. Ice can have albedo of more than 90%. Water का albedo vary करेगा depending upon कैसा water है. It can be as less as 20-30%, can be very good water, even then it will be some 40-50% albedo. So more albedo means that now more sunlight is being absorbed, and that is heating more. More absorption means more outgoing long wave radiation. And that long wave radiation will be captured by greenhouse gases further, and that will further contribute to warming. So global warming causing Arctic amplification, and that further causing global warming. Another example of positive feedback mechanism. So yeah, this is true. Okay, third is very interesting. Third is very different phenomena. Okay. Let me show you this. पहले तो पोलर वॉर्टेक्स का डायरेक्टली ग्लोबल वार्मिंग से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. पोलर वॉर्टेक्स जो है बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड सिस्टम है विच एग्जिस्ट जनरली इन द अपर लेयर्स ऑफ ट्रोपोस्फेयर एंड एक्सटेंड्स इवन अप टू स्ट्रेटोस्फेयर. लो प्रेशर सिस्टम, not on the surface but many kilometers above the surface. Very cold wind, very fast wind. Polar vortex is related to ozone depletion. Polar vortex agar bahut strong hai, that will contribute more to ozone depletion. Sometimes we find that when winter subsides and summer arrives, that polar vortex weakens and it starts meandering. And that weakening polar vortex, if it finds any jet stream, then it can bring very cold stream of wind to the lower atmosphere, and wherever it goes, it will cause intense cold condition for few days. So from time to time you will find a news that somewhere in Canada or somewhere in America, जैसे फ्लोरिडा जो कि बहुत गर्म जगह है, वहाँ पे टेम्परेचर जनरली बहुत ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे 7 दिन तक पूरा बर्फ जमा हो रखा है. So that will be because of that disrupted polar vortex. And amplification, Arctic amplification, is contributing to disruption of this polar vortex. So yeah, even that third statement is true. Answer here is. So polar vortex, very strong polar vortex, is related to ozone depletion. Weak polar vortex is related to that intense cold condition, sometimes in places in Canada and US. All three. क्या होगा आंसर यहाँ पे? Which of the following are examples of positive feedback loops? Positive feedback loop का मतलब ये होगा that जो भी चेंज हो रहा है उस चेंज को फर्दर इंक्रीज कर रहा है, राइट? Whatever is happening, that is further escalating the process. That is called positive feedback. Negative feedback is whatever is happening, a process happens in a way that it tries to bring back original condition, original equilibrium condition. That is called negative feedback. Melting Arctic ice reduces surface albedo, further causes warming. Positive feedback. Warming ocean absorbs more atmospheric CO2. तो ऐसे ही गलत है, ये statement ही गलत है. So, to know. Permafrost thaw releasing methane into atmosphere. Positive feedback. Permafrost thaw is happening because of global warming, releases methane, which is a greenhouse gas that further contributes to global warming. True. Increased plant growth in response to higher CO2 concentration. This is a feedback, but negative feedback. This is not a positive feedback. More CO2, more plant growth. More plant growth means more CO2 will be captured from the atmosphere. So growth of plant is trying to bring back that balance of CO2 concentration in the atmosphere. So this is a feedback, but this is an example of negative feedback mechanism. Answer here is 1 and 3 only. Okay? A is the correct answer. Yeah, fourth is carbon fertilization. This is called CO2 fertilization or carbon fertilization. That's correct. एमॉक जिसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे, पहले तो एमॉक होता कैसा, दिखेगा कैसा? लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दैट. दिस इज कॉल्ड थर्मोहलाइन सर्कुलेशन और ग्लोबल ओशन कन्वेयर बेल्ट. Conveyor belt because it transports heat energy from colder regions, warmer regions to colder region, hence the word conveyor belt. Thermohaline, same thing is also called thermohaline circulation because this exists because of only two things, temperature and salinity. This is different from surface ocean current which you have studied in your geography classes. This exists in the deeper ocean, mostly in the deeper ocean, and yes, at places it does come up and it does converge with surface ocean current, but a larger movement happens into the deeper ocean part. So that blue which you are looking at is that cold, deep ocean current, and that red which you are looking at is that not exactly on the surface, but in the shallow water, that warm ocean water. This circulation happens because of temperature and salinity. That's it. And this circulation plays a very important role in transportation of heat as well as nutrients at certain places. And यहाँ पे जो overturning आपको दिख रहा है Atlantic Ocean में, this component here is called Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. So this entire setup is called thermohaline circulation, and EMOC is a part of it, which is found here. Now this Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, it's slowing down. We know this, and this is one of the climate tipping point. Why it is slowing down? For this entire movement to happen, I need very good density gradient. And that happens when Arctic sea ice, which has essentially very high salt content, and that sinks, and that is a very important triggering point of this entire circulation. So pouring of fresh water into ocean essentially means that you are reducing the density of the surface. That sinking is reducing, and that slows down EMOC. And EMOC slowing down means that this has global impact on the global climate system. One of that impact, जो intertropical convergence zones है, that shifts to southward region. And that has direct impact on the Indian monsoon, by the way. So, look at the statements. It is driven primarily by surface winds and tidal forces. Absolutely false. It is only and only driven by temperature and salinity. So this is absolutely false. And the moment you know that, I do not have to worry about other statements. It plays a crucial role in transporting warm surface water from tropics towards the North Atlantic, moderating the climate of Western Europe. This is true. If the EMOC were to weaken significantly, it can cause a southward shift to tropical rain belt, which is intertropical convergence zone. So yeah, that is also true. Answer here is 2 and 3 only. Please read more about EMOC. ये अभी तक मेंस में आ चुका है, यूपीएससी ने पूछ चुका है, यूपीएससी मेंस में पूछ चुकी है क्वेश्चन, प्रीलिम्स में नहीं आया. So I'll not be surprised that if this question is asked in prelims examination. Okay, I feel like that why this has not been touched upon. I always find it surprising because whenever you read about questions, previous year questions, most of the questions are about CO2, methane, N2O. And the questions about fluorinated gases, gases which have fluorine as a integral component, that has not been asked. So I have two questions on this. Regarding fluorinated gases, पहले तो which gases we are talking about? Please tell me that. मैंने दे ही रखा है यहीं पे. Perfluorocarbon, hydrofluorocarbon, nitrogen trifluoride, sulfur hexafluoride. Add two more, chlorofluorocarbons and hydrochlorofluorocarbons. All of these gases, because fluorine is integral part of them, these are called fluorinated gases. They do not have natural source. They are mostly man-made. तो ये जो statement है, unlike many other greenhouse gases, such as CO2, does CO2 have a natural source? Of course. CH4, yes. N2O, yes. 50% of N2O is natural. But ये जो gases हैं, these are man-made. These are gases produced as part of industrial, lot of applications in refrigeration, air conditioning, and all of that. All fluorinated gases have global warming potential many times more than CO2. Is that correct? It is absolutely correct. So forget about many times. जैसे CO2 का तो ऐसे भी एक तो हम स्टार्ट देखो ग्लोबल वार्मिंग पोटेंशियल हम कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं. हम CO2 का 100 साल का हम एक लेंगे पीरियड that let's say I have some amount of CO2 in the atmosphere for 100 years and how much it will contribute to global warming. And now let's take the same amount of some other gas and for the same year and now how much that will contribute to global warming. This is global warming potential. अब जब ये define करते हो you find कि मीथेन का जो global warming potential है वो करीब करीब 30 है. N2O का जो global warming potential है वो करीब करीब 300 है. Am I right? 300 है करीब करीब. आप fluorinated gases का global warming potential लेना, it will start minimum at few hundred, maximum it will go at few thousand. तो इसमें जो सबसे ज़्यादा potential है वो इस गैस का है. Sulfur hexafluoride has GWP, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in 30,000. Right? So even the minimum will be some hydrofluorocarbon, and even that will be some 400, 500. So this statement is true. All fluorinated gases have GWP many times more than CO2. And all fluorinated gases also cause ozone depletion. This is wrong. CFC and HCFC do ozone depletion. Chlorofluorocarbon, hydrochlorofluorocarbon, they cause ozone depletion. These four, they do not cause ozone depletion. But all four of them here are global warming greenhouse gases. And all four of them, by the way, ये जो first है and ये जो second है, ये एक gas नहीं है. This is a category of molecules. This is a category of molecules. This is one molecule, nitrogen trifluoride. This is one molecule, sulfur hexafluoride. ठीक है? So third is not correct. CFC, HCFC, these two are ozone depleting. These four are not ozone depleting. Answer here is only 2. What about question number 23? If you marked 1, 3 and 4, like that's fine, but answer will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. So first thing first, semiconductor manufacturing industry जो है, that is one of the major contributor of almost all of the fluorinated gases, particularly for these three, perfluorocarbon, nitrogen trifluoride and sulfur hexafluoride. In some processes, अब जो hydrofluorocarbons हैं, जो HFCs हैं, they are generally associated with air conditioning, refrigeration, aerosol propellant, foams, all of those things. But yeah, they do have contribution. They are emitted from semiconductor manufacturing processes. Answer here is 1, 2, 3 and 4. What I would want you to do, please go and read about sources of all four of them. That ये कहाँ से main इनका जो source है perfluorocarbon का वो क्या है, hydrofluorocarbon का क्या है, इसका मैंने बता ही दिया आपको, NF3 का क्या है, and sulfur hexafluoride का क्या है. This sulfur hexafluoride has this remarkable application. It is a gas and it is a very, very good insulator, electric insulator. तो कहीं पे भी अगर हमको सर्किट ब्रेक करना हो, वी यूज सल्फर हेक्साफ्लोराइड. सो आंसर क्वेश्चन नंबर 23 का 1, 2, 3 एंड 4 है. 24 क्या होगा आंसर? क्या मार्क किया आपने? आई वांट मोर रिस्पॉन्सेज. आंसर इज बी. बोथ 2 and 3 are correct, but only one of them explains statement 1. Which one? Which one of them explains statement 1? Second statement. Perfect. The incoming solar radiation is short wave. The outgoing terrestrial radiation is long wave. Infrared. The word infrared is missing here, but that is understood that we are talking about short wave infrared and long wave infrared. The reason is this. As objects heat up, they radiate more and more energy of higher frequency. But higher frequency means lesser wavelength. So as temperature increases, you radiate higher and higher frequency electromagnetic wave, and higher frequency means lesser and lesser wavelength. So that lambda and T, if you multiply that, this will be a constant. This is very famously called Wien's displacement law. You do not have to even remember that. But this is a fact which you should know. That the wavelength which objects, when they heat up, they emit, that is inversely proportional to the temperature they have. Temperature measured into Kelvin scale. So now focus upon sun. Sun is a very hot object. Sun का जो average surface temperature है वो 5700 डिग्री सेल्सियस है. एंड उसके कारण सन का अगर आप रेडिएशन देखोगे, अगर आप सनलाइट का रेडिएशन देखोगे, then about 42% is visible light, about 8% is that ultraviolet light, but about 50% is that शॉर्ट वेव इंफ्रारेड. शॉर्ट वेव का मतलब वेवलेंथ जो है वो यहां पे है. अर्थ का जो एवरेज टेम्परेचर है वो 15 डिग्री सेल्सियस है. सो फॉर 15 डिग्री सेल्सियस इफ यू लुक एट द वेवलेंथ, दैट वेवलेंथ विल पीक समवेयर अराउंड 9 माइक्रोमीटर. दिस विल पीक अराउंड समवेयर अराउंड 0.5 माइक्रोमीटर. सो हायर द टेम्परेचर, lesser will be the wavelength which object is going to radiate. So ये जो statement 2 है, that is correct and that is the correct explanation. Sorry. जो statement 3 है, the Earth's average surface temperature is approximately 33 degrees Celsius warmer than it would be in the absence of atmosphere. अब ये UPSC इस पे गलत नहीं कराएगी कि 33 नहीं है, वो 30 है या 35 है. The main point of statement 3 is that Earth would have been much more colder अगर greenhouse gases नहीं होते. Earth का जो average temperature होता वो 0 degree Celsius से कम होता. That is the main crux of that statement 3rd. And yes, this is true, but this is not an explanation of statement 1. Answer is B here. Both are true, but only one of them explain statement 1. Okay, remaining few questions. Question number 25 to question number 34. एक साथ. You have about 10 questions. I will give you 12 minutes. And even though this is, again, this will be much more familiar because most of the questions are from basic concepts, but all of these basic concepts have been in news, and hence these questions have been asked here. 2 more minutes. Attempt all the question in this section. Take risk. In this section, I would want to take risk. Attempt all the questions. गलत सही बाद में देखेंगे, but attempt all the questions. Okay, let's discuss the questions. I'll prepare this well. This was in news a lot. World Wide Web. So this knowledge has been there for quite some time. This was recently in news because one of the researchers, Dr. Kears, I think, she found out the mechanism of how this functions. So first it refers to underground network formed by mycorrhiza fungi connecting the roots of multiple trees in a forest. That is true. Through this network, trees can share nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, even transmit warning signals about pest attack. This is true. Plants allocate billions of tons of CO2 each year to mycorrhiza fungi. This is also true. All three of them are correct. Answer is all three. Why this was in news recently? One of the leading researchers who did research on this concept of World Wide Web realized that people initially thought that fungi are acting as a passive organism, that how they allocate nitrogen, phosphorus. This is a network. And in this network, a lot of things are being transported from one group of plant to another group of plant. They do not belong to same category of species. This is the most remarkable thing about World Wide Web. Go anywhere in natural forest and grasslands and you find that the roots have this intricate structure connected with each other, which is nothing but fungi. That is not root of plants, but that is this fungi, mycorrhiza fungi. It's a very nice mutualistic relationship where they both are benefiting from each other. So the key finding has been from the recent research that mycorrhiza fungi जो है, this acts as some sort of, ऐसे समझ लो, trader. That कहाँ पे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, कहाँ पे ज़्यादा demand है, कहाँ पे ज़्यादा supply है. All of that is regulated by this network of fungi. So initially people thought that passively allocation of resources is happening. No, it is not happening passively. That this fungi is playing a very important role in dictating that where nutrients have to be shared more, where it has to be shared less, so that this entire system works properly. Few species can get affected because of this distribution, but overall system, almost if it is an intelligent behavior. Of course it is not intelligent. Like it is not intelligent in the sense that it is not a conscious behavior, like how we are capable of conscious behavior, but it is a result of millions of years of evolution. So this was the discovery, and this led to one of the environmental prizes, which is considered Nobel Prize in Environment. And that is why this topic has been in news a lot. So mycorrhizal fungi network can like have something like this, that you have this web of fungi which is connecting roots of different plants and trees. How we do agriculture right now, this is considered a threat to this network, that focus on monocropping and focus on extensive tillage, and all of that essentially destroys mycorrhizal fungi network which exists naturally. Let's say you have come across, this is a question where you have, let's say, come across for the first time, and even then I would want you to attempt this question. In examinations, look at the question. Phenological mismatch refers to timing misalignment between dependent species, such as between flowering plants and their pollinators. Let's say I'm reading it for the first time. Let's assume that this is correct for the time being. And read statement 2. Different species respond to different environmental cues for triggering seasonal event. So if first is true, then second is true. Of course it is true, and it is also the correct explanation of statement 1. Answer is A here. And yeah, it is, answer is A here. So this is true. Like there are a lot of dependent species, and I have given the example also, flowering plants and pollinators. But if the timing misalignment, right, flowering plants are essentially blooming, they are providing pollen at a time where pollinators are not very active. Pollinators' reproductive rate has decreased. Millions of years of evolution has allowed this very nice relationship which exists among different type of species. But because of global warming and climate change, remember, lot of these events, they are triggered by climatic factor. So if climatic factor is changing, then these events will happen at wrong time. And wrong time means that ये जो बहुत nice mutualistic relationship है, that is going to get affected as a result of that. So we call this phenological mismatch. Answer is A here. Both are correct, and statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1. ये ऑप्शन के कारण बहुत इजी है. अगर अगेन आपको पता नहीं था तो जिस तरीके से ऑप्शन दे रखा है उससे बहुत इजी है. पहला इज लिंडेमन्स लॉ, सेकेंड इज बायोमैग्निफिकेशन, third is ecological succession. First is trophic cascade. So trophic cascade happens. Cascade देखो क्या होता है? Sort of chain reaction. I do something small and lot of multiple things happen as a result of that. That is the correct meaning of the word cascade. Trophic cascade means you remove predator. Now suddenly you remove predator, you find that ये जो prey species हैं, lot of जो herbivores हैं, which otherwise first had to fear from this predator, which reduced the intensity of competition among themselves, now they are going to compete a lot. And competition is mutually harming. Competition harms both, but one will be harmed more than the other. That will cause extinction of many species. Only those competitors will survive which are better competitors. But who will suffer as a result of that? Plants will suffer as a result of that. A lot of plants will be eaten, and as a result of that, many small species which cannot compete, they will gradually become extinct. So one small change, I will give you a fantastic example. This is a recorded example from one of the national park in America, Yellow National Park, and they removed wolves and they found that all the trees have disappeared. And when they introduced wolves, trees naturally appeared. How remarkable this is. So you removed wolves, turns out that grasses can regenerate very rapidly, but trees will require a lot of time for regeneration. A lot of herbivores, now they were eating that tree and they were not getting enough time to regeneration, trees have disappeared. And they introduced wolves, again trees came up. So we call such type of phenomena trophic cascade. So answer here is A. This is easy. Both 1 and 2. ये बहुत easy है. This is a standard question about corals. This is a fantastic example of mutualistic symbiosis. Zooxanthellae are photosynthetic dinoflagellate algae that lives inside the tissues of coral polyps. Corals are marine invertebrate animals. Zooxanthellae provides most of the energy needs. Corals provide zooxanthellae shelter and inorganic nutrient. Both of them are correct. Answer is both 1 and 2. Okay, 29. क्या होगा आंसर? Sorry? Look at this statement properly. This is like a very standard question. Primary succession occurs slower on previously unvegetated lifeless surface such as bare rock, while secondary succession occurs faster on previously vegetated areas. This is the correct description of primary and secondary succession. Pioneer species in primary succession such as lichens and mosses are typical organisms that can survive harsh, nutrient-poor condition and contribute to soil formation. Secondary succession proceeds faster than primary succession because soil, seed bank and microbial community are already present at the start. Everything is correct and both 2 and 3 explain statement 1. Why do you think that B is correct? I think A is correct. यहाँ पे जो correct answer A है. Which of? हाँ ठीक है. They contribute to soil formation. They do not need soil. तो कहाँ लिख रखा है मैंने कि उनको soil चाहिए? They contribute to soil formation. That is also true. They break down that rock, and that rock essentially becomes porous, and that soil formation happens, and then the next group of organisms will succeed, lichens and moss. So yeah, lichens and moss do not need soil, but they provide the condition for the soil formation. And this is a very slow process. And that first statement में दे रखा है that primary succession happens slower. Soil formation is a very, very slow process. Secondary succession, this thing was destroyed by some reason. Fire हो गया, agricultural land बना दिया human beings ने, कुछ भी हो गया. But soil is present. As a result of that, secondary succession happens much, much more faster. So both 2 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. ठीक है, answer is A here. No, but it is also saying that primary succession happens slower, and that is being explained by statement 2, that you do not have soil. So there is a reason why I added this slower part, because I wanted A to be correct here. So when I made this question, I wanted A to be correct here, right? So answer here is A. इस क्वेश्चन, ऐसे क्वेश्चंस देखो, ऐसे क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट करके आना, ऐसे क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट कर, गलत होगा कोई बात नहीं, बट दिस इज वर्थ रिस्क वर्थ टेकिंग. यहाँ पे सही होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी बहुत ज़्यादा है. आप एनालाइज करो स्टेटमेंट वाइज, थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा एनालिसिस में, बट यहाँ पे सही होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी ज़्यादा है. अगेन एज्यूमिंग दैट आपको आती हैं चीज़ें. ये हमेशा प्री रिक्विजिट है. एनीवेज दिस क्वेश्चन, जैसे आप सबने तो पढ़ ही रखा होगा that lichens are used as indicator species. Do you think second is correct explanation? It is correct explanation. फिर क्या है correct explanation? Second is the correct explanation. और क्या होगा फिर? ये तो पढ़ के लगना चाहिए कि अगर आपको पहली बार, जैसे मान लो आपने खाली as a fact पढ़ा था that lichens are indicator species, particularly they are indicator of air pollutants. Even अगर as a fact पढ़ा था, तो अब तो स्टेटमेंट 2 पढ़ के तो लगना चाहिए ना कि ये हाँ ये सही लग रहा है. दिस इज एग्जैक्टली राइट, बिकॉज थिंक अबाउट प्लांट्स विच हैव रूट्स एंड स्टोमाटा. स्टोमाटा इज दैट अमेजिंग फिल्ट्रेशन मैकेनिज्म. इट अलाउज गैस एक्सचेंज बट डज नॉट अलाउ एनी गैस एक्सचेंज. सिमिलरली रूट्स का जो फिल्ट्रेशन सिस्टम है, इट अलाउज थिंग्स टू इंटर इनसाइड प्लांट बट डज नॉट अलाउ एनी थिंग्स टू इंटर इनसाइड प्लांट. Lichens and moss, they do not have such complicated, intricate internal organ structures. And as a result of that, if you have atmospheric pollutants like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, they cannot filter those gases, and they will be the first victim of atmospheric pollution. So wherever you have naturally occurring lichens, and if they are declining, then you do not even have to measure, you know that there are atmospheric pollutants here. So answer is both 1 and 2, and statement to explain statement 1. ओके, हार्श कंडीशन का मतलब, ओके ठीक है. क्वेश्चन ये है कि हमने अभी जस्ट पढ़ा कि लाइकेंस कैन नॉट सर्वाइव. हार्श कंडीशन का मतलब ये है कि सॉइल नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है, बट एटमॉस्फेयर में पॉल्यूटेंट भी नहीं है. दैट्स अ सेपरेट प्रॉब्लम. Lichens can survive even on a bare rock because they do not need a lot. As long as atmospheric pollutants are not there, they do not need a lot. When they grow, they secrete enzymes. Those enzymes, they weaken the rock, and that contributes to breaking of rock, fragmentation, and soil formation. And that soil formation allows other plants. That is a separate statement. ये जो स्टेटमेंट है, दिस इज अबाउट एटमॉस्फेरिक पॉल्यूटेंट, एयर पॉल्यूटेंट, दैट लाइकेंस को कुछ नहीं चाहिए बिकॉज उनका इंट्रिकेट स्ट्रक्चर जो है बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल थिंक ऑफ ह्यूमन बींग्स, हमको कितना खाना चाहिए डेली सो दैट वी कैन सर्वाइव. देयर आर स्पीसीज जिनको नहीं चाहिए इतना खाना, बट अगर आप उनका इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर देखोगे तो लगेगा कि बहुत सारे ऑर्गन्स नहीं है, राइट. यू डू नॉट हैव दैट वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सेट ऑफ ऑर्गन्स इनसाइड देम. सो लाइकेंस के साथ सेम चीज है, दैट व्हाट बेनिफिट्स देम also becomes a problem for them, that now they become sensitive to, they do not need a lot, but they become sensitive to very few things, right. So atmospheric pollutant is a separate problem compared to them growing on bare rock. That's a good question, by the way. If you have somebody, anyone else who has a question. क्या होगा आंसर? Both 1 and 2. Both 1 and 2. First is very obvious. High genetic diversity. Within a species, I have lot of genetic diversity. More genetic diversity means that you have adapted to different type of habitat conditions. So even if, let's say, something bad happens in one habitat, or let's say, some problematic thing happens. So one genetic diversity, one of that particular genetic diversity will suffer, but this species as a whole can survive. So it's always a good idea to have genetic diversity within a species. Why we talk about this problem? Again, agriculture and monocropping, that our obsession with very specific variety of rice or apple or mango or banana, all of this obsession, this essentially threatens the crop. Banana, I often find banana as the best example. That during Britishers' time there was a fungal infection, a lot of bananas varieties were affected by it. But the Cavendish banana, that was not affected by it. So everybody started Cavendish banana, and now everybody eats only Cavendish banana. So in Delhi, for example, बहुत rarely होगा कि आपको बढ़िया banana variety मिलेगा, because Cavendish तो देखो बढ़िया taste नहीं है. This is a fact that Cavendish banana does not taste well. If you want to eat good banana, go to South India. Or go to Hajipur in Bihar. So you will find good banana varieties. Anyways, first is true, and second, genetic rescue refers to reintroduction of new genetic material. This is something which is done again to create that genetic diversity. That we want genetic diversity. This is often done in case of crops, and this is called genetic rescue. That you are trying to create genetic diversity, and as a result of that, you are trying to improve the resilience of the species. Answer here is both 1 and 2. 32. क्या होगा answer? I think options were arranged in a way that you should have come to the right answer. What is the answer? B is the correct answer. The financial cost of conservation intervention required to save endangered species, that is just a financial cost. This has a very specific meaning. Extinction debt का meaning ये है that आपका extinction का जो debt है वो आप pay कर चुके हो. हुआ नहीं है अभी, but होगा. वो होगा इसलिए because आपका जो habitat है that has been destroyed. So if the natural habitat of species has been destroyed, the species can survive for decades and sometimes even for centuries. But the species will become extinct because a large population cannot be supported anymore. So any type of even small catastrophe, and whatever population, rest population is left, that is going to die. So many of the, for example, often people talk about this for large species, such as elephants. People talk about this for elephants, that how elephants will become extinct because how we are destroying their habitat, natural habitat. Or any large species which needs a lot of things to survive, and we are destroying habitat fragmentation, destruction, that is causing this extinction debt. So B is the correct answer, the future extinction of species that are already committed to disappear due to past habitat losses. Okay, this is a question, frankly I wanted to ask this in science and tech, but I forgot. So that is why I kept it here in environment. But it is an important theme, and I do think that we should know. And so I connected this with environment. So dark sky reserve at Hanle Ladakh, ये खुद में पता होना चाहिए. ये UPSC खुद में पूछ सकती है कि इसका क्या significance है. तो इसका जो सबसे important significance है वो है astronomical observation. No light pollution means that whatever light now you are gathering is coming from faraway places in the universe during night time. So India's first dark sky reserve, this status was rewarded to Hanle. तो आप देखोगे कि बहुत सारे जो telescopes हैं, they are placed here. And yes, first is true. ये Changtang Wildlife Sanctuary, within Changtang Wildlife Sanctuary here. Second is true. Light pollution control is achieved through use of shielded outdoor lighting, engagement of local communities to minimize night light illumination. Such reserves provide ecological co-benefits to wildlife species. आप ऐसे समझ लो कि light pollution does impact many animals. Excessive light, it essentially impacts their habitat formation, reproductive behavior, predator-prey relationship. So light pollution, excessive unnecessary light does impact species. So if you do not have the problem of light pollution, then that will be a co-benefit. So even third is true. Answer here is all three. C. यहाँ पे first जो है factual statement है, but ideally you should know this. जो Changtang Wildlife Sanctuary है, you should know this. 34. Tough question, not an easy question. क्या होगा आंसर? Statement 1 तो सही है. Statement 1 तो सही है, इसमें क्या गलत है? When I said tough because of statement 2, not because of statement 1, that many Himalayan plants are shifting their altitudinal range to higher elevation. Why would that happen? Why would it happen? But why would it happen? What is the cause? Global warming. Plants have evolved to survive in specific range of temperature. And if the temperature changes, if the temperature increases, then as we go to the higher altitude, temperature still is less. So plants shift their habitat to higher elevation. We have so many recorded evidences in Himalaya that plants which were found at lower elevation are now found at higher elevation. But higher elevation is also not a good solution. Beyond a point of time, atmospheric pressure is very less. Temperature drops a lot. Nutrients are not available. Other species are not available. As a result of that, you are escalating to your extinction. So that is called escalator to extinction. But that is not the explanation. Explanation is global warming and climate change. That plants are going to the higher altitude because of global warming and climate change. And as a consequence, they are escalating towards their extinction, which is the second statement. That mountain species often have nowhere left to go beyond a certain altitude. Increased extinction risk, a phenomena called escalator to extinction. Answer is B here. Both 1 and 2 are correct. But statement 2 does not explain statement 1. Statement 2 is a consequence of statement 1, is not the cause of statement 1. Cause जो है वो global warming and climate change है. Okay. We have some time. Question number 35. ये यहाँ पे ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा because ये बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन हैं. 35 to 45 इसको कर लेते हैं, बाकी हम बाद में करेंगे अगले एंड दोस्त. I will have 40-45 more questions apart from the 77. So yeah, it will take 3 sessions to conclude. So आज के क्लास में कम से कम let's complete 45 questions. So let's do up till question number 45. Again, I will give you 12 minutes. Okay, we can look at the questions. How will you prepare national park? You will pick up first, you'll start with national parks in Himalayas. Then you'll focus on national parks in Western Ghats. Then you'll focus of national parks in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. ये मिनिमम है जो आपको पढ़ के जाना है. इसके अलावा of course you have to read others also, but this is the minimum which you should do. Pick a map, take a map first. The biggest problem which we do here in studying of national parks and tiger reserve, that आप उसको isolation में पढ़े हो, do not have any visual memory in front of you. So if I tell you about a particular national park, like in your brain you should know that ये map में कहाँ पे fit बैठेगा. So that is why I'm saying that आप state wise भी मत focus करो. Let's first pick up bigger reasons. Let's pick up a physical geography, features of India जो आपने पढ़ा होगा. तो उस physical geographic feature में then now try to find out which national parks are there. So start with Himalayas. The reason I'm emphasizing upon Himalayas and Western Ghats, these are biodiversity hotspots, known for variety of species, known for endemic species, and as a result of that, often you will find that they will be asked more compared to others. Why Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha? Because of very large forest cover. So simple reason. Okay? So focus upon these particular places first, and then we can further expand to other states also. Okay? So that is how we can prepare step by step. Not for a moment you should ever think that आप एक दिन में सब कर लोगे. तो आप आराम से 1 घंटे लेके सिर्फ हिमालयाज़ के नेशनल पार्क देखोगे एक दिन में. That's it. And आप उसको हर 3-4 दिन पे आप उसको रिपीट रिवाइज करते रहोगे. Anyways, look at the questions here. Cheetah translocated to India, same subspecies that roamed in Indian subcontinent. No, that's not correct. African cheetah and Asiatic cheetah are 2 different subspecies. Asiatic cheetah as of now are only limited in Iran. I don't know if they have survived right now or not. Right, so and second, Kuno National Park, the primary site of reintroduction is in Madhya Pradesh. So yeah, that is also wrong. Third is true. Nauradehi Sanctuary has been identified for expansion as a future home for cheetahs. And it is in Madhya Pradesh, by the way. Nauradehi Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is true. Answer is only 1. इसका context जो है next question का, many new tiger reserves have been notified recently. So Madho Tiger Reserve, that is in Madhya Pradesh. Ratpani, that is also in Madhya Pradesh. And Kaimur is in Bihar. So Bihar has the second tiger reserve after Balmeki National Park. So answer here is only 2. First is true, third is true, third is not true. Answer third में यहाँ पे मध्य प्रदेश होगा. Project Dolphin covers both riverine and marine dolphins. That makes a lot of sense. If you are talking about conservation, we'll focus upon all type of dolphins. Gangetic dolphin is national aquatic animal and is also in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. That also makes a lot of sense. Schedule 1 में वो animals होंगे जिस पे हमारा सबसे ज़्यादा focus है. उनका जो hunting है, that will invite the maximum punishment. And third is a factual statement. Third is the reason why I made this question, and third is true. That satellite tagging was done on a gangetic dolphin. The goal here is to understand its migration pattern and overall its behavior with help of satellite tagging. So third is true, answer is all 3. And yes, it was done in Assam. That is also true. 38, this is easy. Gharial is something like you are supposed to know. See, both 1 and 2. Chambal River, critically endangered. 39, okay, this is current affairs. Snow leopard assessment was just done few months ago. It is endemic to Himalayas and is not found anywhere else in the world. Not at all. Many Central Asian countries, Mongolia, China does have snow leopard. So yeah, first is not at all true. In India, it will be found in Himalayan state. That is true. In India, it will be found in Himalayan state, but it is not endemic to only Himalayas. It is state animal of Uttarakhand and Sikkim? No. Himachal Pradesh and Ladakh. It is state animal of Himachal Pradesh and Ladakh. Third is true. Ladakh has the maximum number of snow leopards in India. This is true. This was very clearly stated in the snow leopard number assessment. Answer here is 3 only. ये क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी कभी ना कभी पूछेगी. अमेंडमेंट पे अभी तक आया नहीं है, बट ये आएगा ही कभी जब भी आए वो. the number of, sorry, हाँ वर्मिन पे वो भी डायरेक्टली नहीं आया था, लाइक वर्मिन कैटेगरी आया, वो भी क्वेश्चन कैंसिल कर दिया उन्होंने, बिकॉज जिसने क्वेश्चन बनाया था उसको पता ही नहीं था कि एक्ट अब अमेंड हो चुका है, तो क्वेश्चन कैंसिल हो गया. सो एनीवेज लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर क्वेश्चन था एंड द क्वेश्चन वाज कैंसल्ड. Anyways, the number of schedules has been reduced from 6 to 4. That is the most important change. The amendment harmonizes the law with sites. That was the main purpose of the amendment, that Wildlife Protection Act has to harmonize with sites. Vermin species have been moved to a new dedicated schedule. No. जो पहले schedule 5 था, where vermin species, which simply means that now they can be hunted in a specific place for specific duration, that has been removed from schedule, list of schedule, but the power to declare vermin, that still lies with union government, by the way. So I will also remember this. The power to declare vermin lies with union government. So answer here is 1 and 2. Only 2 is the correct answer. Okay, I was reading this statement question just right now and I felt that what I intended, what did you mark here? Okay, so when I made this question, my intention was to have 2, 3 and 5 and I will stick to my answer, but I will also say that there is an extreme word here which essentially can make you think that maybe 4 is the most appropriate option. But let's look at the options. First, of course, is wrong, that all 7 big cats are listed as endangered. That is not total. Lion is endangered, tiger is endangered, but snow leopard, that is vulnerable, right? Puma, jaguar are not found in India, rest all are found in India. We should know this also, that out of the 7 big cats, 5 are found in India. Big cats act as umbrella species, protecting them indirectly conserves a wide range of co-occurring species and habitats. This is true. Big cats ka habitat itna bada hoga that if you are focusing upon their conservation, you protect the entire habitat and then indirectly you protect all of other species of that habitat. So yeah, those species are called umbrella species. Second is true. Fifth is also true. Such a body can facilitate collaboration among stakeholders, consolidating successful conservation practices. Makes a lot of sense. The third and fourth mein problem hai. Fourth is not true. Like just because majestic creatures hain and they can generate, that was not the purpose. The purpose was to protect top predators. As I said earlier, top predators are keystone species. Their number is less, but if you remove them, the ecosystem fundamentally gets altered. Such species are called also keystone species. So top predators are umbrella species. They are keystone species. Sometimes they can also be flagship species, that they can they can essentially be used as a mascot of conservation. I can totally see that this word guarantees jo hai wo thoda sa problematic hai. I can see that. That was not the intention. The main focus was, when I made that statement, the main focus was to write that if you protect top predators, ecosystem remains in a healthy condition, being a keystone species. So I'll stick to my answer, but I will agree to the point that guarantees jo hai wo thoda sa ek extreme word hai. Answer here will be, for me the answer will be 2, 3 and 5. 4 is not correct. And yeah, I made the question, so my answer will stand. So anyways, next question is, UPSC also does the same thing, by the way. वो तो गलत भी दे देते हैं, मैं तो फिर भी justification दे रहा हूँ आपको. So question number 42. Again, another amendment. This happened in 2023. First is true. It exempts registered Ayush practitioners and codified traditional knowledge from prior information to state biodiversity boards for accessing biological resources. This was a criticism against the amendment. That जो benefit sharing है, जो access and benefit sharing mechanism है, जो Ayush practitioners हैं, they will not essentially be part of that framework. So yeah, but first is true. Second, it removes the criminal penalties under the original act and replaces them with monetary penalties. This is also true. That was another amendment. That monetary penalty has been increased, but it has been decriminalized. And that's a good thing. The third statement, that it allows foreign companies registered to access biological resources without any approval. That is not correct. If you have collaborated with some Indian company, you can explore biological resources. But let's say, for example, you try to file a patent for it. That patent approval still will require this approval from NBA. NBA will not give the patent, but NBA will have to approve that this is worthy of giving patent. So anyways, third statement is not correct. First statement is correct, second statement is correct, answer is only 2 here. Nilgiri Thar, sorry. हाँ, लेटर अप्रूवल बिल्कुल. तो ये, लेकिन ये जो स्टेटमेंट एक्सट्रीम स्टेटमेंट है. इससे पहले था कि इवन बिफोर एक्सप्लोरिंग आपको एनबीए से अप्रूवल चाहिए. अभी ऐसा है कि इफ यू आर कोलैबोरेटिंग विद सम इंडियन एंटिटी एंड यू आर स्टार्टिंग बायो प्रोस्पेक्टिंग, बायोलॉजिकल एक्सप्लोरेशन, देन आपको शुरू में अप्रूवल नहीं चाहिए. बट इफ यू आर यूजिंग बायोलॉजिकल रिसोर्सेज, you're trying to file a patent, you are utilizing it for some purpose, then you need NBA approval. So NBA का role अभी भी है. It has been shrinked down, but that role still exists. Nilgiri Thar is endemic to Western Ghat. It is true, and it is state animal of Tamil Nadu. 2 facts, both of the facts are true. It is a mountain goat only found in Western Ghats. It is classified as endangered. That is also true. And third is also true, that जो Iravakulam National Park है, that has the single largest population of the species. So answer is all 3. C is the correct answer. Okay, 44. क्या होगा answer? D. Neither 2 nor 3. Unexpected increase in number of natural predators. Natural predators जो हैं वो number नहीं decline करते. अगर वो number decline करेंगे तो फिर वो भी खत्म होंगे. So remember, there is a negative feedback mechanism between predator and prey, right? It is an indicator species of tropical evergreen forest, not at all. It is found in dry grassland ecosystem. So it is an indicator species of dry grassland ecosystem. In India, where you can see this? Rajasthan, Gujarat, some number can be seen in Pakistan also. So Great Indian Bustard is limited right now only in India and Pakistan. In India, you can spot this in Desert National Park of Rajasthan. You can spot this in Run of Kutch also sometimes. And you can also spot this in some places in Pakistan. So not tropical evergreen forest, but dry grassland ecosystems. Rajasthan का state bird है, गोदावन बोलते हैं इसको. So Rajasthan का state bird, that is true. Answer is D. Neither statement 2 nor statement 3 is correct. Why their number is declining? Because of habitat loss, habitat fragmentation, and because of electrocution from power lines. This actually led to a very famous case in Supreme Court recently, where first Supreme Court said that power lines ko underground karo, but later this was also rectified. Sorry? तो ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड नहीं, दोनों बहुत ही डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ बर्ड्स हैं. बट जो डिक्लाइन है, जैसे स्पैरो, तो आई हैव सीन डिक्लाइन ऑफ स्पैरो लाइक इन माई लाइफ. सिमिलरली आई हैव सीन डिक्लाइन ऑफ वल्चर इन माई लाइफ. सो यू लाइक, कुछ चीज़ होती है ना कि जो आपको ऐसे लगता है कि जो डिक्लाइन ऑफ स्पीसीज इज अ वेरी स्लो फिनोमेना, बट देन यू लुक बैक एंड यू रियलाइज जैसे स्पैरो पॉपुलेशन, तो आई हैव सीन कि आई डू नॉट सी स्पैरो व्हेन आई गो टू माई विलेज. आई डू नॉट सी लॉट ऑफ स्पैरोज, बट आई रिमेंबर एज अ चाइल्ड सीइंग स्पैरोज एवरीवेयर. I remember as a child you have a dead animal and some 2 dozen vultures will come and will completely finish it off. I do not see vultures now in village. बहुत ही rare sighting of vulture है. So anyways, it is because of decline in number. यहाँ पे मैंने टॉपिक नहीं लिख रखा था because फिर that would not make sense. ये invasive species हैं, but टॉपिक यहाँ पे जो होगा, I mentioned topics in almost every topic I mentioned here, the topics to be prepared. So Great Indian Bustard Habitat Threat Conservation, I mentioned that main purpose of this discussion is that along with this question, please prepare this topic. So Lantana camera is an invasive plant, mini tiger reserve, yes, this is true. Juliflora, Prosopis juliflora, native to Indian arid zone, not at all. The moment I said invasive species, it can't be native. And this is again an invasive species, mostly affects a lot of forest areas in South India. African catfish is promoted in coastal area due to its high growth potential in aquaculture. It started with that. India, so this is not like हर चीज़ पे हम ब्रिटिशर्स को ब्लेम नहीं कर सकते. जैसे ये जो दोनों हैं, ये तो ब्रिटिशर्स का लेगेसी है कि कोई गवर्नर जनरल है साउथ अमेरिका में, उसको अपना गार्डनिंग करना है, वो इंडिया में उसका ट्रांसफ़र हो गया, तो इंडिया लेके आ गया उन प्लांट्स को. And they became invasive in India. But this is something which we did. That catfish, we wanted to promote aquaculture. We brought catfish, but that catfish ate all other fishes. So this became invasive species. So as of now, African catfish is banned in most of the states. Right? If somebody is doing it, it will be illegal. So third is not correct. Second is not correct. First is correct. Answer is only one. Okay? Rest of the questions, those who are watching it online, you can download it from the YouTube video description. And आपके पास printout है. You can attempt it. And अगले क्लास में हम खाली क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करेंगे. ये हमारा जो टाइम है बचेगा. बिकॉज आई वांट टू डिस्कस फ्यू मोर थिंग्स. जैसे हमने अभी तक इसमें कोई भी पोल्यूशन वाला क्वेश्चन नहीं है, फॉरेस्ट पे कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है, सस्टेनेबिलिटी इन एग्रीकल्चर पे कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है. सो ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स आई विल गिव यू वन मोर क्वेश्चन पेपर फॉर दैट. सो रिमेनिंग क्वेश्चंस वी विल डिस्कस टुमारो. एंड सॉरी, जस्ट वन मोर थिंग, आई वांटेड टू अगेन रिपीट दिस, दैट यूपीएससी के क्वेश्चंस नहीं होंगे इतने कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, इतना ज़्यादा फैक्चुअल एंड इतने कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं होंगे. आई टोल्ड यू इन द स्टार्टिंग ऑफ द क्लास इटसेल्फ, दिस वाज नॉट अ मॉक पेपर इन द सेंस कि आपका यूपीएससी में सेम चीज़ होगा. दिस वाज मोर अबाउट लर्निंग द टॉपिक इटसेल्फ विच इज कवर्ड इनटू दैट स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन.
Every UPSC result proves one thing quietly: success does not begin at the final stage. It begins much earlier, with the kind of foundation our student builds. The UPSC CSE 2025 result makes that visible again. 10 candidates in the top 100 prepared through the Vision IAS GS Foundation classroom course, including AIR 5 in Shan Bhatnagar. That kind of result is not built on motivation alone. It is built on the right sequence, the right guidance, and the right correction. This is what the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course is designed for. Concept first classroom learning, so preparation is not scattered. Early answer writing and testing, so improvement starts on time. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs become usable in the exam. And mentorship that keeps preparation aligned, focused and accountable. Because in UPSC, hard work is common. Structured preparation is what creates separation. If you are targeting UPSC 2027, start by building your base the right way. Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course. Upcoming classroom batches at Karol Bagh, 24th March at 5 p.m., 30th March at 8 a.m. and 7th April at 11 a.m. At GTB Nagar, 17th March at 8 a.m. and 25th March at 6 p.m. Register at our website or call us on the given number.
यूपीएससी 2027 का लक्ष्य जितना बड़ा है उसे पाने की योजना भी उतनी ही स्पष्ट और संगठित होनी चाहिए. विजन आईएएस लेकर आया है क्लासरूम फाउंडेशन कोर्स 2027 के 12 से 14 महीनों का एक ऐसा सुव्यवस्थित कार्यक्रम है जहां आपकी तैयारी एक अनुशासित और वैज्ञानिक ढांचे में आगे बढ़ती है. यहाँ क्लासरूम लर्निंग के साथ साथ आपको मिलता है लाइव और रिकॉर्डेड सेशंस का विकल्प, जिसे आप अपने व्यक्तिगत ऑनलाइन पोर्टल के माध्यम से कभी भी और कहीं भी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. तैयारी के सफर को और भी प्रभावी बनाती है हमारी व्यक्तिगत क्लासरूम मेंटरिंग. हमारे एक्सपर्ट मेंटर्स नियमित मार्गदर्शन और स्मार्ट स्टडी मैनेजमेंट के जरिए आपकी तैयारी को एक सही दिशा और गति प्रदान करते हैं. शैक्षणिक दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो ये कोर्स मुख्य परीक्षा के सामान्य अध्ययन के चारों प्रश्न पत्रों, सीसेट और निबंध का व्यापक कवरेज सुनिश्चित करता है. विषयों की समसामयिक समझ विकसित करने के लिए मासिक करंट अफेयर्स मैगजीन और रिवीजन क्लासेस के साथ साथ PT 365 और मेंस 365 की विशेष कक्षाएं भी इस कार्यक्रम का अनिवार्य हिस्सा हैं, ताकि स्टैटिक और करंट अफेयर्स के बीच एक सटीक संतुलन बना रहे. तैयारी की गहराई मापने के लिए निरंतर अभ्यास अनिवार्य है. इसलिए डेली असाइनमेंट और साप्ताहिक मिनी टेस्ट के साथ साथ मासिक प्रीलिम्स और मेंस टेस्ट के माध्यम से आपकी प्रगति का निरंतर आकलन किया जाता है. इस कार्यक्रम की शक्ति है हमारी प्रतिष्ठित ऑल इंडिया टेस्ट सीरीज, जिसमें प्रीलिम्स के 35, मेंस के 30, सीसेट के 25 और निबंध के 5 टेस्ट का समावेश है. साथ ही संधान पोर्टल पर 25,000 से अधिक प्रश्नों का विशाल संग्रह आपके अभ्यास और विश्लेषण को और भी सुदृढ़ बनाता है. अब समय है अपनी मेहनत को एक मजबूत, संरचित और निरंतर प्रक्रिया में ढालने का. विजन आईएएस के साथ जुड़े और यूपीएससी 2027 की अपनी सफलता की राह को एक स्पष्ट दिशा दें.
UPSC Prelims is not the destination, it's the first crucial step, and clearing this step requires more than hard work. It demands the right strategy. Vision IAS All India GS Prelims Test Series 2027 with Sandhan is designed to give you that edge from the very beginning. With 35 structured tests, build your journey from fundamentals to full-length tests, ensuring clear, step-by-step progression. With Sandhan, personalized practice, you get more than 25,000 questions targeting your weak areas. Every test becomes a step toward measurable improvement. With smart analysis plus mentoring gain, get precise insights into your mistakes and refine your strategy with expert guidance. With quick revision material, QRM, focus on revising what truly matters exactly when you need it the most. Starting from 19th April, ensure you don't just attempt Prelims 2027, you prepare to clear it. To register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. All India GS Mains Test Series and Mentoring Program 2027, not just a test series, a system designed to improve how you write. For Mains 2027, what matters is not how much you know, but how effectively you present it on paper. And that's exactly what this program builds. Write regularly, get evaluated with precision, understand your mistakes, improve with clear mentorship. So with every test, your answers become more structured, more relevant, more impactful. This is where preparation turns into performance. Start early, improve consistently. Be ready for Mains 2027. To know more, visit our website or call us on the given numbers. Are you ready to face prelims head-on? Because prelims is not just about knowledge, it's about performance under pressure. That's where Abhyas, the All India Prelims, GS plus CSAT mock test comes in. Designed as a true exam simulation, Abhyas recreates the real UPSC. Prelims experience the same pattern, the same time constraints and the same intensity. It places you in a national arena, competing with aspirants across India, backed by an all-India ranking that reveals your true standing. Attempted by 1 in 3 top 50 rankers, Abhyas has become a trusted benchmark for serious aspirants. With detailed post-test analysis, live discussions and complete syllabus coverage in both English and Hindi, it ensures your preparation is not just extensive but exam-ready. 3 full-length offline simulations will be conducted across 100+ cities on 5th April, 19th April and 10th May. From 9:30 am to 11:30 am for General Studies, that is Paper 1, and 2:30 pm to 4:30 pm for CSAT, that's Paper 2. Challenge your preparation, test your performance. For more information or register, visit our website or call us on the given numbers.